Welcome, dear listeners. I'm Jonathan Carlin.
And I'm Benjamin Carlin.
And we invite you to join us through the Griffin door, your one-way ticket to the enchanting world of Harry Potter. So grab your wands and dust off your broomsticks and join us as we unlock the riddles inside Goblet of Fire, Chapter 23, The Yule Ball.
The Yule Ball.
What a fun chapter.
What a chapter. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, what time in the world you're listening to this. There's festive holly in the air.
Indeed.
You know, it's really, it is too bad though that at the very least, as of recording this, it is April 25th, 2025.
It's about as far from Christmas as we can be.
Yeah. Although it is at least the 25th. We have that going for us.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah. So that is something. So, no, I'm very excited about the Yule Ball. I feel like there is something about this chapter that I think like when I think of Harry Potter, I think of the Yule Ball. Like I think it's like a very like I don't even know the best way to describe it. Like a very like romanticized like moment in the saga, which is fascinating because it is like not necessarily a terribly positive experience for like Harry
every character
or Ron.
like, right. I suppose is the Yule Ball like the exact halfway point through the series almost?
Oh, that's an interesting thought. I mean,
this is exactly 4.5 years in, right?
Yes.
Maybe not. Well, yeah, pretty close. Pretty close. Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think because Dead 4 would be the dead center, right? Of a 7-part series.
Right. Yes.
So yeah, we're in the middle of middle.
We're like in the middle of middle. I mean, if you look at the pages, we're certainly just past the middle, but like timeline wise, inside of like Harry's school experience, he'd been there for September, October, November, and now we're like at the end of December. And so he'll still be there for like 6 more months, I guess. So maybe like February is the dead center.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah. The second task. Maybe the second task is the dead. Oh, even that makes sense. That it's like the very middle of the tournament is the middle of the whole story.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's very interesting.
February 24th, that would be. As we know,
yes.
they all happen on the 24th.
They all happen on the 24th, except for the Yule Ball, which happens on the 25th.
Right.
Which, is almost like one of those things where I'm like, it should have been on the 24th and then ended at Christmas.
Right.
But I think that for structure's sake, it's more fun to have them wake up and do presents and all that type of stuff rather than going through the whole Yule Ball, having all the negativity, ending with the Ron and Hermione screaming match in the common room, and then waking up the next morning.
Waking up on Christmas.
Yeah, to Dobby being like, "Good morning, sir."
Like right in your face. Yeah. Don't do that.
Come on. Anyway, as per always, we got to talk about the chapter art, which I think is kind of funny. I wrote it is a antlered statue.
It is. I mean,
of a 4-legged creature.
It is technically a reindeer, but I wrote stag right next to it.
I wrote stag chew.
Yeah,
get it like statue.
Stag chew. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
It's a pun. It's a play on words.
It is.
Prongs. Rudolph. These are other notes that I've made on my page here.
Right.
Yeah. Missing from this particular chapter art though is like a tiny little beetle.
I said the exact same thing. I was like, there really needs to be just the tiniest little beetle somewhere. That would have been really great because even then you'd read the chapter and you'd be like, hey, there's the beetle.
Yes, yeah. It's like, wow, odd that they chose to include that in the chapter art, I know, but whatever.
I doubt you'd be like, oh, I get it. It's Rita Skeeter.
Right.
Yeah.
It's even funny too, because on the shrubs that you see inside of the chapter art here, they've got like little flowering somethings in there. So you could have easily changed one of them, buds of some kind. I don't know what they are. But you could have easily changed one of them to a beetle and then it would be like extra covert. One of them is not a beetle, is it?
I know.
Are we like making this whole fuss? And
I'm
it's like
looking at like the top right between the 2 big roses. There's like a tiny circle. Could that be it? I don't think so. You almost need a magnifying glass if it is.
I know. I'm literally holding my page as if I think I'm like verging on needing like a pair of like readers.
I cannot get it any closer.
I can't hold the page.
I'm like, I feel like such an old man now. Hold on, is that the beetle right there?
Back in my day, we swore there was a beetle.
I used to be able to look at things up close like this. But
Anyway,
I don't think the Beatles there, but I stand to be corrected, I suppose.
Most certainly, yes. This is going to be one of those where we get like 12,000 responses from people being like, guys, It's right there.
It's right there. It's not even the one we're looking at. It's like one of these other super obvious ones. No. Anyway, let's get into the chat. Well, actually, who do you suppose is this hiding behind there? Is that supposed to be Hagrid and Madame Maxime, or is that Harry and Ron?
You know, that's a good question. It doesn't feel like from a seismic standpoint that it could be Madame Maxime and
agree.
Hagrid.
It feels like they'd be a lot bigger.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go. But as we get through the chapter, we'll have to see if there's like any specific circumstance, because it could also be like Fawcett and who else? Does take points from?
Fawcett and
Stebbins or Stebbins.
Stebbins. Yes,
it
is. It's Fawcett and Stebbins.
Could it be them?
Just Snape being mean to people for no reason again.
It literally is like, all of the other professors, including McGonagall, is in there like dancing the night away, and Snape is outside blasting shrubs apart.
I know, like attacking the shrubs. Like, dude, chill.
Yeah, you need to like tone it down a notch.
You were being a little sus over there, man.
Right. Yeah. You didn't even have one of these to have a negative experience about that you're now like taking it out on.
I know, it's not like this is drawing up bad memories from your own Yule ball. As far as we know, you didn't have any school dances at all.
Exactly, as far as we know.
It's kind of surprising though when you think about it that there's not some sort of like annual school dance at the Hogwarts.
It does seem like that there would be like some kind of like or even like a Hogsmeade festivity, or something like that,
like a festival,
right? Yeah, maybe those are the kinds of things like where Harry, like, because Harry always kind of like waxes poetic about his experience at Hogwarts as if like everything is wonderful, and it's like, dude, you nearly die every year,
like all the time.
There's like constant threats. You've got like one of the biggest pain in the butt bullies constantly just like obsessed with you. Like lots of stuff is the foot. Like what is going so well that you're always like, Hogwarts is my home?
What's going on is that the Dursleys are that bad.
Are that bad? Yes, indeed. It's like I would rather have my life at risk than live with the Dursleys.
Yeah.
I'm also joking, by the way. I completely understand why Hogwarts is wonderful, but it makes me think that possibly there's just a bunch of other like wonderful things happening where there's like no plot relevant things, and it's just sort of like,
so you just don't hear about it.
We just don't hear about it.
Right.
At all.
Yeah. It's like that day Harry went to a carnival at Hogsmeade. Yeah, like that happened, but it was just a happy day for him, and that's all. So
it's like people
not really relevant.
Right.
He didn't learn any vital information.
Yes. Yeah. People don't enjoy the story of happily ever after. That's why all stories end there. We all enjoy the conflict that leads to.
I know, like every now and then there'll be just like a nice like singular paragraph here and there when it's like, Harry had a lovely afternoon at Hagrid's drinking tea and arguing about elf politics or whatever.
Right.
And it's like, Hogwarts is great. And it's like, that was one afternoon.
He got one of those this year. Anyway, do you want to do your first line?
Absolutely, Ben. Are you right? It's a pretty solid one, as it always is.
It worked. So far, it hasn't failed us yet.
It hasn't failed us yet. All right. So the chapter kicks off. Despite the very heavy load of homework that the fourth years had been given for the holidays, Harry was in no mood to work when term ended and spent the week leading up to Christmas enjoying himself as fully as possible along with everyone else. And then the dragons arrived. It was such a good week. This is exactly what we're talking about. It's like, I'm not doing work. I'm just it's a great week. Dragons. There they are.
Yeah. No, I've got to say though that just kicking off into this, like I understand, that like they're in their fourth year and there's like, the NEWTs are going to be next year. OW Wells. I'm so sorry. OW Wells are next year. And like, obviously like these are students who have to be taking their coursework seriously, but I'm pretty sure in just the last chapter, we had like a whole thing about how like a bunch of the teachers like had given up on even trying to teach at all. And they were just letting them kind of like have fun and play games in class and, watch The Princess Bride. That's what we used to do in band class.
I think that's what everyone used to do in band class or whatever class they had the day before our break.
Yes.
Just watch like portions of The Princess Bride, but never quite see the whole thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Then you eventually do it and you're like, wow, this movie really slaps.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Good.
But anyway, I think like it is surprising to me though, and I guess to be fair, it's also the case that like Snape wasn't budging on it and McGonagall was still being hard on him and blah blah blah. But it is surprising to me that going into such festivities and the holiday break that the teachers are like homework and a lot of it.
I know. Like this is like I'm just trying to imagine Flitwick being like, all right, everyone had fun today. Have a good break. Also, tons of homework. See ya.
See ya. You know, it almost even reminds me of Prisoner of Azkaban when Harry is like on summer break and he's trying to like, you know, do all of his essays and stuff for his summer work on the Goblin Rebellions that, you know, Florian Fortescue ends up helping him with when he's staying in, you know, Diagon Alley. And it's like, it's almost like you have to give Harry homework so that the Dursleys can be depriving Harry of his school books.
Right.
Because otherwise it's like Harry, like, would he really want his school books?
Right.
Throughout the course of the summer. So I mean, maybe homework is just
You'd think if you were Harry, the answer would be yes. It'd be like your school books would be such like a tangible touch point to your other life.
That's a very good point. I mean, that's the other thing too, though, is they always make it sound like Hermione is like this, like, you know, try hard for like reading all of her textbooks. And it's like, dude, if I found out, and I'm 35, if I found out next year that I had magical powers and that there was tomes of information, I would be spending every waking moment learning what else can I do.
Yes, exactly.
You know? Yeah,
I agree. You'd be like, okay, amazing. Let me learn everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow, look at this. We're like 10 minutes into the episode and we've made it one sentence in. So
yeah, I know. Beforehand, we were like, do you think we can keep it like to a reasonable length this time? And we're like, we'll see how it goes.
What happens is what happens.
What happens is what happens.
Yeah.
You know, we got things to say. I often find the first page gives us a lot to talk about, and then it kind of picks up from there.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see how the chapter unfolds for us. But the people at home are like, I can see the status bar, and you guys are just getting warmed up.
Yeah. This is your longest episode yet, guys. You don't even know what's in store for yourself.
Anyway, so the next thing that we see going on is that Fred and George have also had great success with their canary creams. For the first couple of days of holidays, people kept bursting into feather all over the place. Before long, however, the Gryffindors had learned to treat food anyone else offered them with extreme caution in case it had a canary cream concealed in the center.
How big are the canary creams? Like, they must be pretty small.
I know.
Like, this feels like a joke you could see coming a mile away. It's like, you want to eat this? And you're like, no.
Yeah, it's like, I have a pastry for you.
Yeah.
I mean, even going back to Chamber of Secrets, there's a scene like where they leave the floating cupcakes for Crabbe and Goyle.
Yeah.
And Ron's all like, how thick can you get?
Yeah.
It's like, apparently the Gryffindors, all thick.
All thick. They're just like, maybe like if you're magical, you really like sweets appeal to you in a whole next level kind of way, which is why even though like even when they go to like Honeydukes and they look at all the different kinds of like amazing candy, and I like always love reading those lists and stuff. Some of them are just still like fudge. It's just like chocolate that. You know,
Yes.
it's like it's still just like a basic candy in like a fun shape or something.
No. It's the descriptor, Jay. It's,
Yeah.
If you told me I could buy a slab of chocolate,
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'll take one slab.
I'll take
please.
one slab.
I
Yeah.
mean, there is something real nice about the terminology of a slab.
There's no doubt about that.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, I love the idea that everyone just keeps poofing into birds around there. It does say that Harry made a mental note never to accept so much as a crisp, to which I added, or nut, from Fred and George. We know what they're loading up with over there.
That's right. They're like, just in case we need an impromptu party, we got crisps and peanuts available for us.
Yeah. Ben, before we get off the first page, because I know we have so many things to say, we should also mention that part of why we were thinking like maybe we should try and keep this one short, which obviously we haven't, is because today, as of recording this episode, is when tickets for Through the Griffin Tour Midwest are on sale.
I know. Oh my gosh. How I can't believe like tour is back on, and literally it ticked over to 11 a.m. on my watch as I am saying this, like in real time.
In real time.
Which means that tickets for like most of the shows in the Midwest leg literally just
went on sale.
So anybody who is attending, you may have just bought tickets like as I'm speaking right now, which is just so much fun. But yes, we have a whole myriad of dates available. All of the information is available at supercarlinbrothers.com/events. You can get to all of the various ticket links from there. Once again, we're doing the VIP before every show. So if you want to come and take a photo and chat Harry Potter and do all those things with us, like it really, like I've said it so many times and I mean it, like tour has been the absolute like peak of my online content creating experience.
Yeah.
Like there is just nothing better than getting to like see these people go and have like the most rambunctious book club in these ridiculously cool venues that are so used to seeing like punk rock bands.
Yes, I know. We're
like,
always at these odd venues that are like, hey, do you think the people at the bar must be like, what is happening right now?
What is this?
I mean, what's happening is the greatest Harry Potter book tour ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's a hootin' and hollering good time. We'll have links in all the obvious spots, so be sure to go and check those out. But we hope to see you guys in the Midwest.
Yeah, this is by high and away the most requested section of the country for us to come visit.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
We're gonna have 8 shows in 10 days.
8 shows, 10 days.
Yeah. So we're gonna be straight in the thick of it. I
Yeah.
mean, we're gonna be rocking on all cylinders. Plus, there's like really exclusive merch that you can only get on tour and all sorts of like fun things. So be sure to check it out.
Be sure to check it out.
We hope to see you there.
We'll keep you posted. Okay. Page 2.
Page
the
2.
Yule Ball.
The Yule Ball.
All right. I love the description of how the Beauxbatons carriage looked. It says, the pale blue Beauxbaton carriage looked like a large chili frosted pumpkin. To which I'm like, what kind of blue pumpkins are you harvesting at wizard school?
I know. I mean, also, it's like pumpkins are not notoriously like snow-clad gourds.
No.
You know, they're usually melted on your front doorstep by the time the snow comes around. At least in our neck of the woods.
There's no doubt about that. I'm gonna be planting pumpkins tomorrow, Ben.
Look at you go.
No, I'm excited.
I'm so proud of you. Well, they will not be around by the time snow comes around.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But let's see here. Just remember, life is fleeting.
It's fleeting.
No, I'm just kidding. But no, there is sort of this like very like wonderful sensation as to what it must be like to like stand on the grounds at Hogwarts and just look out at all of the beauty that surrounds you. Because it also says next to the ice gingerbread house that was Hagrid's cabin, while the Durmstrang's portholes were glazed with ice, the rigging white with frost.
That sounds miserable to be inside of.
That actually does sound
Yes.
really terrible. Yeah, I think that probably all of the extremely cold water underneath the ship is just permeating up through the bottom.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you'd think magically they can keep warm, but then like Crumb is going to say some stuff later that makes me think like, even though you could do it, they're just sort of not.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That only Fleur Delacour seemed to be able to find anything to complain about. And we talked about this earlier in the book. This is when she's talking about, it is too heavy, this Hogwarts food. But don't forget that Fleur Delacour got up, made a giant search for the Great Hall to find the Beauxbatons. Carried the entire giant vat of it back to the Ravenclaw table. And Beauxbatons, not a light dish.
Yeah. So put that in your pot and skillet.
Yeah,
Fleur Delacour.
exactly. Oh, just trying to complain. We're on to you, Fleur.
Yeah, here's the thing though, is that like I feel like she is a character who goes on to be kind of great in time. Like I know that there's like a degree of maybe jealousy from like Hermione and Ginny in time to come, because I feel like Fleur has a very soft spot for Harry ever since like he rescues Gabrielle in the second task. And but like I mean, and then Hermione, I think Ron is still sort of like got like the doe eyes around her, but like she ends up marrying Bill. They end up being like key members in the fight against Voldemort. Like she ends up, providing them haven at Shell Cottage. Like it's funny that she is so described as being so negative so early on. Yeah. It is too heavy.
Yeah.
You do such a good
good Fleur.
Yeah.
I pride myself on my beautiful French girl accent.
That's exactly it. Yes. You must be part Vila.
I guess you know.
Right.
I get that all the time.
Right. And so right on cue though, we have Hermione once again being a bit sour, despite the fact that she is fundamentally at this point in the story beginning to better understand the point of everything.
Yes.
Which is like the international aspect of cooperation and those types of things. But, there's a tragedy. Hermione snapped as Fleur went out and saw she really thinks a lot of herself, that one, doesn't she?
Like Hermione says that, but here we go. In Fleur's defense, she is part Vila. She is magically beautiful, like in a supernatural way, and school champion. So like, yes.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back to like when they were like, Harry, since when are you like the top one in the school? It's like Harry has saved the school at least twice.
I know.
He's school champion. He fought off Dementors. Like, he's the one who took down Voldemort. I mean, I understand that they're talking about like grades and all that, but then at the same rate, it's not like his best friend isn't the top one at the school.
I know, right? Yes, exactly. So, yeah, it's a poorly placed insult for sure.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Everybody has such narrow perspectives.
They do. They do.
Especially when jealousy's involved.
Oh, absolutely. And Hermione's dealing with a bit of that herself because Ron keeps trying to scare who she's going to the ball with out of her unsuccessfully. She says, I'm not telling you, you'll just make fun of me. And I'm like, part of me wonders, like, what if she just told them? Like, how would they react? Like immediately, if Ron wasn't shocked by it on the night of, if she was just like, okay, fine, I'm going with Victor Crumb.
Right. Like, I mean, I think you would see like out of like a cartoon show, Harry and Ron's jaws just literally like comically drop to the floor.
I know.
And it would be like, what?
I know. I feel like if she had told him ahead of time, Ron would have been like impressed. And like if instead of like hyper jealous that all of a sudden it was like
thrust upon him.
Thrust upon him is the word I was looking for. Yes.
Yeah. He is definitely a little like jump scared by what is to come. And what we'll see is that like literally when she enters with Crumb, Harry will describe her as a pretty girl he had never seen before.
I know. So she has a full transformation.
Yes, indeed. Let's see here. So then what do we have? Then of course, as per always, Malfoy must have invented his own extendable ears because he's always within nearby distance.
I know.
And he's like, you're joking, Weasley. You're not telling me someone's asked that to the ball, not the long molded mudblood.
Malfoy revealing he doesn't know which teeth are which.
Yes. Yeah. The long. It's like, have you seen that Hermione Granger? Remarkably long teeth in the backs.
Yeah. That would have been such a worse section of teeth to start growing.
That would be. Yeah. It would be. But I also feel like that little line is included there just to kind of give you that like teensy little reminder about the fact that like her teeth have historically been larger than average.
Yes.
Because that of course is no longer the case.
Indeed. Yeah, that's honestly what this transition is here for, because this is where Harry and Ron are going to be like, hey, wait a minute.
Yes, exactly. Exactly right. I do love that Hermione, she must have like a little bit of lightning on her own shoulders at this point in time, because she claps back at Malfoy rather beautifully.
Absolutely.
She's just like, oh, hello, Professor Moody. And then Malfoy just goes pale and jumps backwards, and she's like, a twitchy little ferret, aren't you, Malfoy?
I know. Like got him.
Yeah, she has complete control of this exchange.
Yeah.
Like, she is not ruffled.
Like, I am not to be you. When you find out who I'm going with, you are going to be literally shocked silent. So,
yes.
So shut up, dude.
Shut up. Oh man.
Yep.
But yeah, then of course the boys recognize Hermione, said Ron, looking sad at her, suddenly frowning. Your teeth. What about them? She said. And it's like, oh, Hermione, you know.
Oh, she's being so coy.
She really is.
Yeah.
It's like, well, they're different. I've just noticed. And it really is funny because I feel like ever since Ron has discovered that Hermione has a date, it does seem like he is like instantly more dialed in.
Yeah.
On like, not only is he like obsessed like with who she's going with, which normally would be like the type of thing that I could imagine Ron would just be like, who cares?
Right.
You know, like, what's the matter?
Right.
But now it's sort of like, I don't even think he knows why he's so preoccupied.
I think
he just is.
I know. That's real. I mean, this whole chapter, he's really not going to like his heart's like 3 steps ahead of his brain here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so then we get the explanation from Hermione that she smiles mischievously. And I sort of love that, because that's Hermione's also not one to be out there sort of like bending rules or
it's
sort
kind
of
of
like,
exciting, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You did like her little like eye to the side thing. Let's see here. But basically, she says, when I went up to Madame Pomfrey to get them shrunk, she held up a mirror and told me to stop when they were back to how they normally were, and I just let her carry on a bit.
Yeah. Oh, see, I think it's hilarious that she's saying this like moments after she just said she really thinks a lot of herself, that one, doesn't she? Like, oh, who's being vain now?
Right.
Oh, I don't care. Who would care about something like the size of your teeth? Well,
Hermione's like, it's like telling Madame Pomfrey. It's like, and also, I promise this is how they were before the spell, but usually when I smile at people, there's an actual sparkle that comes out of them.
Actual sparkle,
Could you make sure the sparkle is returned?
Yes, I'm known as glitter teeth around the school.
Yes. Oh man. So anyway, then basically she's talking about how she doesn't think mom and dad will be too pleased because they are of course dentists, but
they wanted me to carry on with my braces. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine anything more embarrassing for a Muggle-born student
to show up with
than to
braces.
show up with braces to wizard school?
Yep.
They'd just be like, what on earth are those?
It's like you're trying to sew your teeth together.
You're trying to sew your teeth straight. What do you mean? That's the general idea.
Oh man.
There's nothing wrong with having braces, for the record.
Of course not.
But
No,
for
no.
sure, wizard students would not understand them.
Precisely that. But then Pigwidgeon is back, to which I don't know how we haven't talked about this nearly as much as we should. But I feel like owls very conveniently interrupt important conversations all the time.
All the time.
You know, it's like a literary way of like changing the subject by having the like something arrive.
I mean, that's exactly what Malfoy just did. It's just like, oh, change subject. And it's like, oh, let's talk about the teeth.
Exactly.
And we're done talking about teeth. Owl.
Owl, yes. Yeah, Malfoy is more of a plot device than a character when it comes down to it.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. Okay, let's see here. So then what do we have? What do we have next, Jay?
So Pigwidgeon arrives and people are passing him, pointing and laughing, which like what a bunch of mean students yelling at the owl, or just making fun of the owl. And then where are they right now? They're leaving the entrance hall, right? Or the Great Hall.
Yes.
And like Pigwidgeon shows up like just in the middle of the hallway. Is that what's happening?
I think that's what's happening.
Okay.
Yeah. Just zooming around like a little guy.
Yeah. Pigwidgeon hooted happily, his head protruding out of Ron's fist. The 30 years girls all looked very shocked. I don't know what they're looking shocked at. But at the same rate, I actually think Ron is correct at being kind of upset with the way Pigwidgeon is acting, because this is a letter from Sirius, so the showboating is a real issue. Because if like the letter is like interrupted or other people are looking over, it could be a big deal for Sirius.
That is a good point.
Yeah.
That is a good point. Yeah, it's like the kind of thing you do need to keep at least a little bit covert. So maybe at least a little bit in this particular situation, Ron is kind of like, hey, not now. This is it's kind of doing that like
Right.
like that gesture of like cut.
Yeah. Right. Don't draw attention to yourself.
Right. Yeah. Then we get one of the infamous lines where it says, he pulled Sirius's reply off Pigwidgeon's leg. Harry pocketed it. And they hurried back to Gryffindor Tower to read it. Okay, I have to make a correction here because I think the last time I brought this up, I said that this was a Jim Dale-ism. But the backstory between the phrasing of pocketed it is that it's actually Stephen Fry who narrated like the British version of the audiobook for the Harry Potter series, struggled, I think, in book 1 saying the words pocketed it, and then from then on it ended up being included in every single book as like a little
an inside joke.
a little inside joke. But it's Stephen Fry, not Jim Dale.
There we go.
So I needed to make that correction. So anyway, then we get the letter.
Yeah, then we get the letter, which as usual with Sirius doesn't say almost anything at the end of the day. It's like it's good that we get it, but he doesn't say much. And even his first sentence, congratulations on getting past the horntail, period.
Right.
Like no exclamation point. Sirius, come on.
For real, especially because when you go back and reread the scene where Harry wrote this particular letter, it specifically says that it was a little bit heavier than usual because Harry couldn't resist from giving Sirius a blow by blow of like the series of events. So,
and especially since Sirius sent him the firebolt.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So from Harry's perspective, here's what happened. He wrote a letter that was like, Sirius, guess what? I got past the dragon. Here's how it all went down. I used a summoning charm. I used the firebolt. I was in the air. I ducked left. I went right. I swooped. He shot. Flames! And then Sirius's response is, congratulations on getting past the horntail.
Period.
Through the Gryffindor is sponsored by Prolon Life. Y'all, we've all probably set some kind of lofty health goals for ourselves somewhere along the way. I mean, I remember right after Addison was born, I promptly decided that an aggressive new workout regime for 75 days was probably the best way I could respond to brand new stress and responsibilities coupled with sleepless nights. The point is that it's hard to maintain, and that's where Prolon Life comes in. It's a 5-day fasting mimicking diet that gives you a science-backed, structured approach to stay on track and see real results. So you might be wondering, what is Prolon? And it's a plant-based nutrition program that features soups, snacks, and beverages designed to nourish the body while keeping it in a fasting state, triggering cellular rejuvenation and renewal. I'm glad they gave me those words because I probably couldn't have plucked them from my own brain. But it was actually my wife, Alice, who brought Prolon Life to my attention because so often tonight we'll chat on the couch about how we desperately need a reset, and a cold turkey fast just scared the pants off of me. But I love that Prolon is convenient, backed by Nobel-winning science, and it works. And for a limited time, you can be the first in line to experience the new next gen at special savings. Prolon is offering through the Gryffindor listeners 15% off site-wide, plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day program. Just visit prolonlife.com/Griffin. That's PROLONLIFE.com/Griffin to claim your 15% discount and your bonus gift. ProOnLife.com/Griffin. Links in all the obvious spots. That's it.
Not exciting.
Yeah. It's like, serious. Where's your old self, man?
Come on, man. Have a little barking laugh at this situation here. Then instead it's, whoever put your name in the Goblet of Fire shouldn't be feeling too happy right now! Exclamation point.
There it is.
There it is.
Yes, we got there eventually. I was going to suggest a conjunctivitis curse as a dragon's eyes are its weakest point. That's what Crumb did, Hermione whispered.
Do you think that she recognized that in the moment, or that she's already been talking to him and she's like, he has been telling her about how he did it?
Here's I wrote she was watching, winky face.
Winky face. I just said already been chatting. Question mark.
Question mark.
Question mark, exclamation point.
we did have the theory that there's a decent possibility that Hermione had been asked by Crumb earlier and she hadn't given him an answer yet until the situation arose. I don't know what the right tense is there. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I do think that there's a chance that as much as she is claiming to be frustrated, I think maybe she was starting to recognize some of, Don't get complacent though, Harry. You've only done one task. Whoever put you in for the tournament's got plenty more opportunity if they're trying to hurt you. Keep your eyes open, particularly when the person we discussed is around, and concentrate on keeping yourself out of trouble. Keep in touch. I want to hear about anything unusual.
So see, there's no information in here at all.
Yeah.
All it says is, congratulations getting past the horntail. Otherwise, keep doing what I said.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And, I mean, to be fair, Harry's response is, he sounds exactly like Moody. Constant vigilance. You'd think I walk around with my eyes shut, banging off the walls.
Yeah. I mean, maybe not with your eyes shut, but you're banging around, getting into some nonsense.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. It sounds exactly like Moody, though. That's another line. The more I'm reading this and the more it keeps coming up, it's like, Sirius is the character that continues to double down on Moody's trustworthiness.
Yes.
And now it's like Harry doing it on his behalf. He's like, he sounds like Moody. And it's like, you, the reader, just spent an entire book doubting, mistrusting Sirius and like not knowing and thinking he was a bad guy when he was a good guy. So now you're like, oh no, anything Sirius says, that's like, you got to take it seriously. And
yes.
It's the same trick, but in reverse.
We're doing exactly what was happening with Ron, where Ron didn't talk to Harry for 3 weeks leading up to the first task. And then afterwards, he's all pro Harry on everything all the time and always.
Yes.
Yeah. But we, the readers, are falling victim to the exact same trap.
Right. Yes, we are. But he's right, Harry said, Hermione, you have still got 2 tasks to do. You really ought to have a look at that egg, and stop looking at what it means. To which, Hermione is completely correct about this. Harry has definitely reached the point where he's just been ignoring it. This is what he should actually be doing during the break, you'd think.
Oh, is working
on the egg?
Yes, absolutely.
I feel like he should be excused a certain amount of homework,
I mean, he is
work on this.
Yeah, the champions are excused of end of year exams. It does seem like the nature of that would almost be you're going to end up doing more work than the rest of the students anyway.
Right.
You're going to have that, as much as that sounds like a perk, it's because you're going to have to work your butt off in order to get through this.
Yeah.
But either way, Harry decides instead to go with Ron's suggestion of playing a game of chess.
Yes.
And he argues to Hermione that he won't even be able to hear the egg over this lot.
I know.
Referring to everybody in the...
But then Hermione actually has a rare concession. It says, oh, I suppose not.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, did Hermione just give up on the spot? So unlike her.
She's just daydreaming about, How
But,
she's,
I know.
everything to come. Yule Ball.
Everything to crumb.
Nice.
There we go. I do love that Ron continues to win at chess.
Okay, I was curious about this though. Do you think there's any symbolism to the phrase? Because it says, let's see here. She watched a chess match which culminated in an exciting checkmate of Ron's involving a couple of recklessly brave pawns and a very violent bishop. So the kind of interesting thing here is that like as much as wizard chess is giving the commands and watching them sort of like do battle or possibly even like argue with the decisions that you're asking of them, to make. Like, no, sacrifice him, not me. It's like the recklessly brave pawns. I was almost like, is that like Peter and Barty Crouch Jr. and the very violent bishop is like the Voldemort?
Let's see, which culminated in an exciting checkmate of Ron's involving a couple of recklessly brave pawns and a very violent bishop. Or
am I just thinking too much about it?
No, I mean, it could be, I suppose. I was like, I thought I saw where you were going, and I was like, I guess the recklessly brave pawns and the violent bishop are all on the same side, but otherwise it almost seems like the brave pawns might be like Cedric and Harry, and the violent bishop could be Moody. Because you'd think of a bishop as being like typically like a nice person.
Yes.
Hopefully, and then, but it's a very violent bishop.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point indeed. Yep. So possible symbolism there. I think there could be something to be drawn out of whatever.
Out of the checkmate. Ron being a seer and all.
That's exactly
right. Yeah.
Naturally.
But anyway, we're going to have a little page break here. And then Harry awoke very suddenly on Christmas Day, and then the dragons arrived.
I was so hoping you were going to do it. That's perfect. Oh, man. Wondering what had caused his abrupt return to consciousness, he opened his eyes and saw something with very large, round, green eyes staring back at him in the darkness. So close they were almost nose to nose.
Boy, anyone who has kids knows exactly this sensation.
It happened to me literally last night.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes. Daddy.
Yeah.
I have to go potty.
Yeah. Just wake up when there's someone just way too close to your face.
You walked past the bathroom to get to me.
Yeah.
Dobby, Harry yelled, screaming away from the owl so fast he almost fell out of bed. Don't do that.
'Tis a bit rude.
Yes. Same thing I say to my daughter when she does this exact thing. Dobby is sorry, sir, squeaked Dobby, anxiously jumping back with his long fingers over his mouth. Dobby is only wanting to wish Harry Potter a Merry Christmas and to bring him a present, sir.
He's like, Harry Potter did say Dobby could come give him sometimes. You said that. You gave me permission to be here.
Right.
And I am taking it.
Right, yes.
Yeah. Come on, Harry. Then Harry kind of recovers quickly. He's like, it's okay. Just like poke me or something.
Yeah. Let's just go about this in a different way.
Yeah.
We need better protocols for all the future occasions when this will probably happen.
Right.
And then I love Seamus being like, someone attacking you, Harry.
Yeah. Not very concerned, is he?
Yeah.
Despite the fact that someone did attack Ron last year.
True.
Yeah.
But
you guys
then,
should be a little more wary of this. That's not constant vigilance.
Not even at all. And then Harry's like, no, it's just Dobby, as if Seamus knows who Dobby is.
No.
Okay, go back to sleep. Presents.
Presents. I know, right? Seamus spotting the large pile at the foot of his bed. Do you think he got one from Lav in there because they're going to the Yule Ball together?
Maybe.
Probably. Maybe.
Maybe. Oh gosh, what does Ron's chain say? Like, my sweetheart.
Yeah.
So maybe Seamus is getting his own little.
It'd be so funny if it just like vaguely mentioned Seamus opening like a gold heart thing, it's like Lavender re-gifted it to Ron or something,
or like Lavender has like a move.
Yeah, this is her move. She's like, I know
exactly what he'll want.
Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, but then Dobby is now standing nervously next to Harry's bed, still looking worried that he had upset Harry. There was a bauble tied to the loop on top of his tea cozy.
Aw.
Can Dobby give Harry Potter his present? He squeaked tentatively. Course you can, said Harry. And then he says, which I have officially started highlighting and circling for every occasion when Harry says,
Classic Harry. What a character trait.
I know, he's a big guy.
He's a big guy.
You know, actually, that's really funny because at the end, in the third task,
it is. Oh my gosh. We keep joking about how much he says but it's a clue from the Sphinx.
It's a setup.
It is a setup.
My gosh.
You are right.
I can't believe I can't believe that.
That is because it's the final sound of spider.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, I cannot.
Oh my gosh. I'm trying to find
believe
the riddle in real time, but oh my gosh.
that is I mean, wow, you're totally right. That's almost definitely what's happening. Because it's like this book where he starts being all the time, like he can't find the right word.
Yep. And finally give me a sound often heard during the search for a hard to find word.
Oh my gosh, he's been doing it the whole time.
I am so
that's an amazing little. We've been doing an counter without even realizing the significance of it.
That's amazing.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Yep. So in the third task, the answer to the riddle is spider, and yeah. So, man,
that's pretty. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's us realizing this in real time.
I've also even already made a middle of middle reference in this episode as well, which is one of the other clues.
Wait, what was your middle of middle reference?
Because we're in the middle of the middle.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Right. So book 4 is the middle of.
Yeah. Middle of middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we just need a spy here in this chapter and we'll be great.
I know. Well, yeah, it'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay.
Which I guess we will run into Snape eventually. But
right.
Anyway, so Harry says, of course you can give it. I've got something for you too. Something you did not have to say.
It's true.
It was a lie. To which I'm also like, how dare you, Harry?
Yeah, to Dobby.
To Dobby?
For
Yes.
shame.
I know.
Yeah, that's okay though. Pulls out a particularly knobbly rolled up pair of socks. They were his oldest and foulest, mustard yellow, which is a little piece of trivia there.
Yeah.
Trivia rather, not trivia. But sorry, I forgot to wrap them. But Dobby was utterly delighted. Socks are Dobby's favorite clothes, sir.
So it says that Harry, like the reason they're so knobbly is because Harry had been using them to cushion his sneakoscope. I feel like this would have been a great opportunity for the sneakoscope to like start spinning immediately.
Yes, I totally agree, because that was sort of the thing that was happening all of last year, and we were led to believe that the sneakoscope just simply didn't work because it like Ron. I think Bill says that they're like just sort of like cheap toys that they like sell the tourists.
Gift shop toy or something. Yeah,
exactly. But the reality is that the sneakoscope is working the whole time because Scabbers is actively there,
right,
and like part of a plot. So it would be kind of interesting if like he pulled it out and it started whirring because of Moody, and Harry was almost like, now that's unusual,
right?
Yeah.
Or yeah, because do you think he would retroactively realize that it was Scabbers that causing it to go off?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fair question. It almost seems like that should like ping through the back of his mind in this particular moment, considering it's been like a year and a half since this has happened.
Yeah. In any case, Dobby is enamored with the socks. They're his favorite clothes, but he points out that Harry made a mistake. They gave him two that are the same, and I love Ron. Doesn't miss a beat. He says, no, Harry, how come you didn't spot that?
Tell you what, Dobby, here you go. Take these two. You can mix them up properly. And here's your sweater.
And then suddenly Dobby is just under an avalanche of presents and does not know how to handle himself.
Yes. Dobby, no, sir, must be a great wizard, for he is Harry Potter's greatest friend. But Dobby did not know that he was also generous of spirit, as noble as selfless. They're only socks.
Looked rather pleased all the same. I like this elf. This guy is good.
I know. Yeah. Ron is like, we can keep him around. This is working for me. He'd also just opened Harry's present, a Chudley Cannon hat. Cool. He jammed it onto his head.
How do you imagine this hat to look? Like a snapback or something?
I have always wondered about this because like part of me always pictures like something with like muffs on it, you know, sort of like an over ear situation that you might wear like pushing like a dog sled.
I always kind of imagine it to be like in like more like a Cat in the Hat kind of vein. Like maybe not so like tall and striped, but kind of like a giant leprechaun's hat, but orange.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like big and goofy.
And so you think Ron opens that and it's like, cool.
Well, that's what I've always. Like, it's so funny because it's like Ron's response doesn't match to me what like he would think of as a cool hat.
Yeah.
But what kind of hat could Ron get where he'd be like, cool?
Now this is nice. Well, he's even going to be upset later because he's going to get like all the Niffler.
Shouldn't have gotten me that hat.
He shouldn't have got me that hat.
Which makes it sound like it was an expensive hat.
It
what
does.
kind of expensive Chudley Cannon's hat has Harry purchased for Ron?
Hard to say.
Hard to say.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
Although now I feel like we should come up with a design for some kind of something that's just like Ron wearing like an oversized like orange cowboy hat.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know?
What do you guys picture the Chudley Cannon hat to look like?
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like a big cannon. You know? Like it's just like a voom.
Like it's almost something like if you go to like a Green Bay Packers game, they wear like cheese heads.
They wear the cheese heads, but it's like a cannon head.
It's like a cannon
But
head.
because it's wizarded, you can actually like light it and it like booms and stuff.
Oh.
Now it's way better.
I'm
Now
really,
it is cool.
Now I'm really starting to like the sound of that.
Yeah. Okay.
As per always, it clashed horribly with his hair, which
As
almost
per
everything
always.
seems to.
Yeah.
Dobby now handed Harry a small package, which turned out to be
Socks. Yep. Dobby must go now, sir. We is already making Christmas dinner in the kitchens, which very long day, especially when you find out that what's for lunch is 100 turkeys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100.
It's quite a many.
It is
to go with their 800 barrels of
mead.
Of
Yeah.
mead.
That's right.
People are like, "Oh man, Dumbledore, you cannot plan events in the future. You overbuy."
Overbuy, also overseat, I'm pretty sure. I want to
Yeah.
say there's going to be 1,200 seats in the Great Hall later for what, roughly 300 people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too many.
It's too many.
It's too many.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Harry's other presents were much more satisfactory than Dobby's odd socks, to which I'm like, throwing shade,
Well, hey,
man.
come on. Hey, yeah, come on.
I mean, who has elfish socks?
Who has
Like,
elf-made socks? Exactly.
in Lord of the Rings, it feels like this. I mean, these socks would keep you safe from danger.
Oh, I
or
know.
whatever.
Yeah, remember when Frodo gets stabbed and he's got on the mithril?
Yeah.
That's elfin made, right?
Precisely.
Exactly. As far as I'm concerned, Harry's feet cannot be hurt now.
That's what I feel the same exact way.
Yeah.
If only Achilles had those. See what I did there?
I did,
It's
yeah.
an ankle joke.
It's an ankle joke. Yes.
People love a good ankle joke.
You know who's an elf? Legolas. You know who shoots Achilles' ankle? Paris, played by Orlando Bloom, aka Legolas. Wow, did it. Boom.
Yes, full circle. We made it.
And Troy, the movie Troy. Yeah.
In Troy.
Yeah.
Nice.
Starring Brad Pitt also.
Pretty cool movie.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Dursleys sent Harry this year a single tissue, which once again, a little piece of trivia there.
Why we even send it?
It really is like one of those things where it's like you're going out of your way to be rude.
How'd they get it there? Muggle mail? Do you think it came in an envelope?
It's like, what are you doing?
Certainly they didn't use an owl.
Right. I just imagine Petunia walking into the kitchen one morning and she's like, Vernon, what are you doing? And he's like,
Sending the boy a tissue.
it seems a little unnecessary, doesn't it?
Right.
What are you sending Dudley? 38. Counted them myself.
38 tissues.
38 tissues.
Pretty lousy Christmas there at the Dursley house.
Yeah.
Then we get Hermione got him at Quidditch teams of Britain and Ireland. This is another little Hermione moment, if you ask me, because if you remember the last chapter, Harry had clearly been wearing out his copy of Flying with the Cannons, apparently having read it 10 times. I'm not saying that Hermione noticed how much Harry loved Quidditch books about the same team, but she was like, maybe I'll give him some other teams to read about.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yep. Then Ron, a bulging bag of dung bombs, to
Yep.
which I don't really think we see Ron or Harry use that many dung bombs.
I know,
you
yeah. Whatever.
Sirius, a handy penknife with attachments to unlock any lock and undo any knot.
This knife does come up later on in Order of the Phoenix when they are breaking into Umbridge's office.
Yes.
Which she has magically locked from Alohomora, but Sirius's knife works on it. But then when they get to the Ministry of Magic, he tries to use it on the Department of Mysteries doors, and it melts.
And it melts, yep.
So when it says any lock, it doesn't mean any lock.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. It's also kind of like an interesting trend of like gifts from Sirius being very important to like subsequent books, because like the firebolt he gave him in book 3, but comes in super handy in book 4. The knife pen he gives him in book 4, which he uses in book 5, and then in
He gives him the mirror in 5 too.
and then in 5 he'll give him the mirror that he'll end up using in book 7.
Yes. Yeah. So all of Sirius's gifts are much better usually than everyone else's.
Yes.
If only he could have told him how to use the mirror.
If only.
Golly, it's so annoying.
Mrs. Weasley has the usual sweater, green with a picture of a dragon on it. Just another little piece of trivia there. Harry supposed that Charlie had told her all about the horntail.
Right.
And it's
that
like
Charlie had to tell her that, because Rita Skeeter certainly didn't write an article about the the task itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. And then he also receives a large quantity of homemade mince pies.
Yeah.
Which I had to look up mince pies because I was just really curious about, like, I was like, how many, like, usually when I think of a pie, I think of a single large, like, pastry kind of
Yeah.
thing. They are quite small.
They're like hand pies.
They're like hand pies.
With meat, right?
Well, minced meat, I believe, is like a collection of like dried like fruits, raisins, and stuff like that. Like, I don't think they actually contain like meat.
Oh.
Like meat. I think that like what you see inside maybe like resembles meat, but is otherwise like a fruit pie.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not an expert on British baking, but anyway, I did look some version of this up and was trying to understand it so that I could be informed.
Yeah.
And that's as far as I got.
Okay.
Then we make it to lunch, which, as you already mentioned, contained at least 100 turkeys.
At least. Probably more.
Yeah. At least 101.
Yeah.
Let's see here. And a large pile of cribbages, wizarding crackers.
Oh, cribbages.
Yes.
The wizarding cracker people.
Yes. To which, again, I was like, man, this page is just full of trivia. We could literally do a Jay versus Ben, chapter 23, page 410 quiz.
Yeah, right.
And I would probably miss most of them.
Probably miss most of them. But so if you're keeping track down in the kitchens, they had to cook at least 100 turkeys and then everything for the Yule Ball.
Some amount of pork chops.
Some amount of pork chops, but as Harry points out, it's a more complicated system of ordering food.
That's indeed, yes. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Let's see here. What else we got? We go out and have our annual snowball fight.
Oh, not just the snowball fight, Ben. They go out in the afternoon. I'm imagining like 3 at the latest.
Yeah.
For this, they joined in. The Weasleys joined in, and at 5 o'clock, Hermione says she's going upstairs to get ready for the ball, which is at 8, and they don't decide to head up until 7. So at minimum, this is a 4-hour snowball fight.
Dude, I don't know if you've ever spent that much time in the snow before, but you would be exhausted.
Yeah.
Moving around the snow is so tiring.
Yeah.
You're wearing heavy clothes. Everything is slippy. It's cold. You're hucking snow.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, goodness gracious. Yeah. These guys are, I mean, probably the reason they don't want to dance is because they're just plumb pooped.
I know, Ron's like, Padma's like, you could ask me to dance, and you're like, you wouldn't believe how tired I am, actually. I have been outside all day. All day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was, you know what though? I hit Fred in the face a couple of times.
But as Hermione is leaving, Ron does yell off in the distance, "Who are you going with?" But she just waved and disappeared up the stone steps of the castle.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. Then we make it back to the Gryffindor common room where the fat lady was sitting in her frame with her friend Violet from downstairs. The same Violet who would have been in the chamber just outside of the Great Hall.
Yes. Next to Slughorn's painting.
Next to Slughorn's painting.
Yeah.
Who spilled the tea on the fact that Harry was going to be allowed to participate.
Indeed.
We do know that there is in fact a new password, which is fairy lights, but she responds with just an excellent spoonerism, which ends up being Larry fights.
Larry fights.
That's the one. She giggled when they gave the password and swung forward to let them inside.
It is crazy to me that the paintings can eat other paintings of chocolate liqueurs and actually get drunk.
It is rather remarkable. It's like, does that mean that those chocolates are just gone now?
Perhaps they were, are they gone? Were they painted with alcohol?
Do paintings poop?
Yeah. Is there any limit to how much they can drink?
I have no
or
idea.
eat?
Yeah.
Right? If they eat the banana in the painting, does the banana come back, or is it like that? This painting no longer has a banana in it.
It's gone.
Yeah.
The ever important painting of a banana.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, could somebody go eat the pear that you tickle to get into the kitchen?
Exactly right. Does someone have to keep repainting the bowl of fruit to feed the paintings?
That would be amazing if there was literally just like a whole legion of painters that worked at Hogwarts to go around and refill all the food
Right.
that the other paintings are consuming.
That'd be so weird.
It would be.
Yeah.
It would be.
But it does seem like the alcohol has an effect on them. So there's something to it, unless it's all just like a placebo or something.
Right. Either way, Harry, Ron, Seamus, Dean, and Neville all changed into their dress robes up in their dormitory, all of them looking very self-conscious. And this honestly is rather on point. Like, I remember back in 6th grade, we would do like an annual winter concert for band.
Yeah.
And I remember that this was like an occasion where you would have to like kind of get dressed up. And I remember like arriving and it was like you were wearing like, you know, a necktie for the first time for me, for the first time in my life. And I remember being like, I look ridiculous. And it's like probably to literally anyone else, it'd be like, oh, you look quite nice. But like to me, I was like,
look at my handsome little boy.
Yeah, I was like, this is humiliating.
This is humiliating. I can't believe I'm having to do this. People are going to see me like this right now.
Right
oh
now.
my.
Yeah. But yeah, poor Ron. His robes look more like a dress than anything else. But he does use the severing charm on the rough end cuffs, which makes it lace free.
Lace free, but now you have frayed sleeves.
The poor guy. I
Not
mean,
sure which one's worse, really.
yeah, this seems like the best possible case thing he could have done is just fully leaned into it.
He has to lean into it.
Yeah.
That's his only way. That's his only way forward, really.
I can't help but wonder what Fred and George are wearing. Like, are they just like somehow wearing like nice outfits?
I imagine they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine they wouldn't just lean into it, though.
They definitely would just lean into it. 1,000%.
They could pull it off.
Yeah. They've got the personality for it.
Ron cannot.
Here is where we get the line, and I think we maybe gave this to Seamus last chapter, but it actually belongs to Dean.
Yes, you're right. We were like making fun of Seamus for being like, you asked someone else.
Yes. But it says, I still can't work out how you two got the best looking girls in the year, muttered Dean. And
Who is Dean going with?
We don't know.
We don't know.
One of the other two unnamed Gryffindor girls.
I suppose so.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Millicent Bulstrode,
Millicent Bulstrode.
who's not going with Crabbe or Goyle.
Right. Yes. Because they're going solo, or as I like to see it, together.
You know?
Yeah. Everybody loves a good
grab and coil.
Grab and coil.
Everyone's favorite Harry Potter ship.
That's right. I do love Ron's response though. Animal magnetism.
Animal magnetism. He says gloom. It's like he's like in such a bad mood, but he's still like not missing a beat. He's like, I don't know how you two got the best looking girls in the grade. And he's just like, animal magnetism. Count that as a joke. I'm not having fun, but you heard it right. Okay.
It's like that was hilarious.
That was
right?
hilarious.
Yes.
You guys heard it. Yeah.
It was hilarious, Ron. Good job. Well done. Let's see here. Then they make it downstairs, and Parvati is waiting for Harry at the foot of the stairs. She looked very pretty indeed in robes of shocking pink. And then we get another one of Harry's famous ers as he is complimenting her. He says, "You look nice.
Look nice." Another there it is, right there.
They're just like screaming off the page at me now. I can't believe I didn't see it before.
I know. Now I think it's interesting that she is described as very pretty in robes of shocking pink, because when we meet Pansy Parkinson downstairs, she's also going to be wearing a pink dress, but it's going to be suggested that she's like looking like very frilly and like not so good.
Yeah, exactly right.
She says that Padma's going to meet you in the entrance hall right now, which I think is kind of funny. It's like, has Ron not even spoken words to Padma yet, like at all? Because it seems like maybe the two of them would have worked out where they're going to meet.
That's a good point.
Stuff, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like he meets her for the dance, and that is them meeting for the first time.
I think
basically.
there might be a degree of that going on.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. But then Ron responds, right, looking around. Where's Hermione? It's like, give it up, man.
Yeah. It's too late. It's too late. Yeah, Parvati shrugs. Shall we go down then, Harry? Okay. I think that's how Jim Dale reads it. He's got like a real like, okay.
I feel like sometimes he adds whimsy that I don't. He's like putting tone in Harry's mouth.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, did he say it that way?
Did he say it that way?
Are we sure about that?
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but then we get downstairs. Padma's looking just as pretty as Parvati in robes of bright turquoise. Yeah.
She didn't look too enthusiastic about having Ron as a partner. She's like, poor Ron, man.
I know. It's like he's having a rough way to go.
Yeah. I can only imagine Padma was like, oh, Harry Potter's best friend. Okay. And then Ron shows up in his frayed dress robes. And she's like, oh, no.
Oh, dear.
What have I agreed to?
Oh,
boy.
This was supposed to be, well, okay. All right,
Should have gone with Dean Thomas. Should have gone with Dean. Yeah.
We're going to make the best of this, I guess.
Yep.
Let's see here. So then we see Fleur Delacour walk past, which causes Ron to sort of like hide behind Harry. She is wearing robes of silver gray satin and accompanied by the Ravenclaw Quidditch captain, Roger Davies. I have a lot to say about this. And
Okay.
I'll try to keep it as brief as I possibly can.
Yeah.
But I believe that what has happened here is Fleur, as we know, has basically been chatting up Cedric the whole book.
Flirty Fleur.
Yeah. So, I mean, you go back to like the moment when they were both selected as champions, the weighing of the wands, like literally the moment that Ron is like walking through like the common area looking for someone he could potentially ask to the Yule Ball. I don't believe that he is even intending to ask Fleur.
I don't think so.
It's like I don't even like in the movies. It almost seems like maybe like he's like more like fixate
Well, because she's not a Vila in the movies.
Exactly.
So his asking of her feels more intentional, whereas in the book it's like he got blasted by some Vila magic and like couldn't control himself.
Exactly. And as it kind of goes back to like a few conversations past, but we sort of have this belief that like Vila magic operates very similar to the Imperious Curse. And the way in which you can resist the Imperious Curse is to have excellent strength of character, which we of course know that Harry has, and Ron maybe struggles with a little bit more because he also struggles more with the Imperious Curse. But then I would argue that if there was somebody else that we know has great strength of character, it's Cedric.
Right.
So Cedric is not susceptible to Fleur's efforts. And Harry even supposes that Ron got caught up in like the blast that she was attempting to direct at Cedric. So I think the idea here that is kind of funny is that Fleur will end up asking Roger Davies to go to the ball, which is also interesting because what we'll learn in Order of the Phoenix is that Roger Davies had also asked out Cho, who is Cedric's date.
Right.
So it's like
he won't ask out Cho until after Cedric dies.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
she says he asked me out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's that.
I did go confirm that, but it does seem like Roger Davies is like, it seems to me, on your same line here, that Fleur has clearly asked Roger Davies to go with her, or at least turn the charm on for her, so he would ask her because Roger Davies would be like another older Quidditch captain who Cedric might see as like a romantic rival or something.
Yes.
Because in fact, they do also both date Cho Chang.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. So anyway, it all fits together, but I really do think that Fleur's real goal was to go with Cedric.
Absolutely.
And that Roger really just can't believe his luck at this point in time.
Right.
He's like, what happened?
And that maybe if Ron had just stuck around for like 3 more seconds, Fleur, who's been the most beautiful woman in every single room she's ever stepped in her life, has just been somehow rejected.
Right. So maybe there's a world where like in this moment to save face, she just turns and looks at Ron and is like, yes, I will go with you. And Ron's like, what?
Yeah.
Because he runs away. She doesn't actually say no.
She doesn't actually say no. Ron claims she looked at me like I was a sea slug or something. But I think what's happening is that Fleur is like trying to get Cedric to ask her and it's not working. And she's like, doesn't know how to handle it.
Yes.
Yes. And then to make matters worse, Ron runs up and asks her to the dance and then flees.
Yes.
Like, that would be even worse. Like, how bad would you feel if someone came up to you and was like, would you like to go to the ball with me? And then ran.
I know. I would
be like, oh, wow, that was so mean.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, I was really excited for like 1 second there.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Anyway, so that's our backstory to the Roger Davies incident, in case anybody was curious. Once again, Ron is looking for Hermione. But at this moment, a large group of Slytherins come up the steps from the dungeon in the common room. Malfoy was in front, in black velvet with a high collar, which in Harry's opinion made him look like a vicar. Once again, a piece of trivia that I think you could totally ask about. The Yule Ball could just be its own quiz.
That's fun.
Then
we have Pansy Parkinson in very frilly robes of pale pink, was clutching Malfoy's arms. So it doesn't give her like the same treatment as like Parvati or Padma so far.
It definitely goes to show that you can use the way in which you describe colors to make somebody sound flattering or unflattering, but it probably would apply to everything because pale pink, for all intents and purposes, is effectively blush, which is like one of the more like neutral and universally like beloved and worn colors. Yeah. So it's like pale pink is like a perfectly acceptable color, but the usage of like pale
and frilly
makes it sound like in some measure of less than.
Right, it does.
But I bet she looks fine.
I'm sure she does.
Yeah.
Yep. Then we get an update on Crumb, who was at the front of the party, accompanied by a pretty girl in blue robes, which is Hermione, who Harry didn't know.
Yeah. Your best friend.
Your best friend. Amazing that he doesn't recognize her. But then it is time to head into the ball. So Parvati and Harry break off from Ron and Padma. They're like, see ya in there. I hate the description of Professor McGonagall, who was wearing dress robes and red tartan, and had arranged a rather ugly wreath of thistles around the brim of her hat. Just like, whose opinion is it that it's rather ugly?
You know what? I think it looks fine, McGonagall.
I know.
I am personally huge fan.
I don't like, do we know this is Harry's opinion or is this like the narrator's opinion?
I think it's the narrator. I think the narrator may have been like slighted by McGonagall somewhere in the past.
Yeah, I know.
It's like this is my opportunity to get a little jab in.
Yeah.
You know,
it was let's be honest, it was a rather ugly hat. Okay.
Yeah.
We were all thinking it.
You know what, guys? We here at Through the Gryffindor are not here to slander one Minerva McGonagall.
Not at all.
She's a saint. We love her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what? I think that the hat looked good. Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah,
I think so too.
Okay.
Yeah. Good for you, McGonagall. Way to put yourself out there.
Yeah, way to get dressed up. Not like Snape, who I think is just wearing his like regular teacher robes.
Bat robes.
Bat robes around. Yeah. I love the description of Roger Davies, who looks like he just doesn't even know what's happening. He looks so stunned by his good luck and fortune of having Fleur for a partner that he could hardly take his eyes off her. It's just like he's just like, wow.
But
whoa.
Is it not the case that if Ron had stood there for 3 more seconds, that he could also be the one who is just stunned by his good fortune?
I know. I mean, Ron. This is the thing. If Ron was going with Fleur, like, do you think he would care at all that Hermione had gone with Crumb?
Ooh.
I don't think he would. I think in his mind, he would have just won the night. He would have been like, yeah, you went with Crumb, but I went with Fleur, and that's even better.
You know, here's my other thought too, is that like it would be such main character energy for it to be the case that there is these 4 champions and that like Harry, Ron, and Hermione would be involved in like the start of feast festivities as like 3 4th-year students.
Right.
You know, because Harry is just himself a champion. Hermione is with Crumb and Ron was with Fleur. Like it would feel like one of those things where it's like, of course, the main 3 characters somehow found their way into the center of attention.
Right.
So I almost prefer the fact that Ron doesn't go with Fleur, but I also feel like he was right there.
It was right there. It was so close. It was so close. Meanwhile, Harry has gotten a little bit closer to Crumb's date and realizes, boom, it was Hermione, period.
Yeah, but she didn't look like Hermione at all.
Mm-mm.
She had done something with her hair. It was no longer bushy, but sleek and shiny, twisted up into an elegant knot on the back of her head. She was wearing robes of a floaty periwinkle blue material, and she was holding herself differently somehow. Or maybe it was merely the absence of the 20 or so books she usually had slung over her back. This is interesting though, because I actually think to credit fashion, I think this happens. Absolutely. Like, I think that when you feel confident in the clothes that you're wearing, I think it can literally change your entire body language.
Absolutely it can.
Yeah.
And clearly Hermione spent 3 hours getting ready. I think she said, does she use the like the Sleek Easy hair potion?
Does she?
Right?
Oh, yeah.
I think she does.
I think she does, yeah. Because she's literally using what Harry's sourced his own personal fortune from to make herself look beautiful.
Yeah, to make herself look beautiful. She says it take like way too long, to which I'm like magical potion doesn't just immediately work on your hair.
It does seem like that would work. Yeah.
It does seem like it would work, but at the same rate, if you need, it's like it almost seems like there's something magical about hair itself sometimes.
Well, there's no doubt. Like, I mean, Petunia tries to cut off Harry's and it just like literally grows back the next day.
Right.
And there's like nothing you can do to it to like make it sit tidy. And it seems like James has this same like frock of hair himself.
Right.
Like, it's like so constantly like windswept and ruffled. And I mean, it seems like he carries it in like a much like cooler way than Harry seems to.
But he would know that his dad invented the
grandfather
invented the Sleek Easy hair potion. Like certainly like it seems like it doesn't work very well even on him.
Also true.
You know?
Also true.
And like Hermione is like, you'd think if she just has curly hair, she could like put it on and be like, yeah, it works.
Right.
But it's like, no, you have to put a lot on. You need a potion. You can't even like cast a spell to make your hair like straight.
Interesting.
You know?
Yeah.
And like, you know, unicorn hair is used in wands. They use hairs in the polyjuice potion.
This is
like,
all very true.
Yeah.
That's very interesting observations. Yeah. Like there's such a like an essence associated with like magical hair.
Right. It's like the magic growing right out of your body.
Yeah. That's a tagline.
There you go.
Take the magic growing right out of your body.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Let's see here. The reduction of the size of her front teeth was even more noticeable than ever. Harry couldn't understand how he hadn't spotted it before. Hi, Harry, she said. Hi, Parvati. And I think that Parvati at this point in time is just flat out jealous.
I know. Yeah. Parvati was gazing at Hermione in unflattering disbelief.
Yeah. Now it's her turn. So again, if you make like an anime of the Harry Potter series, at this point in time, I think we've had multiple characters do a total jaw drop situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I would love to see. I can picture it in my mind's eye.
Yeah, just
Parvati's like very like meme eyes reaction to.
Yes. Yeah, like comically large.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yes.
Yeah.
Pansy Parkinson gaped as she walked by with Malfoy, and even he didn't seem to be able to find an insult to throw at her.
Yes. Oh boy, I feel like that line right there, that's like the catalyst for just so many fan fictions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, underneath it all, it's like, wow, you do think she's pretty. Wow.
You know what I think is funny is I think people get so frustrated with our Hermione shipping, but so many people ship Draco and Hermione.
Oh,
and
I
it's
know.
Like, I'm like, guys, that has to be worse,
That's
right?
so much worse, right? That seems very toxic.
Yes. But either which way, I still only say in jest, because it's all in good fun.
Ron, however, walked right past Hermione without looking at her. To which, to me, it's like not that he's ignoring her, it's that he has not recognized that it's her yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be my interpretation as well. Let's see here. So then they make their way to the round table at the top of the hall where the judges were sitting. The walls of the hall had all been covered in sparkling silver frost with hundreds of garlands of mistletoe and ivy crossing the starry black ceiling. It sounds beautiful.
It does.
Yeah.
The house tables had vanished and said there were 100 smaller lantern-lit ones, each seating about a dozen people. So that's 1,200 seats if you're keeping track.
Okay, I have a curiosity here because I think I also spotted this particular problem, and I believe that there is an outside chance that the rest of the schools are invited to the ball.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
That like if the other Beauxbatons and Durmstrang students were allowed to come for this event.
Yes, because I believe that there's going to be a line when Parvati and Padma are sitting with the boys from Beauxbaton.
Yeah.
I believe it's going to say that they've like attracted like an entire crowd.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's hard to imagine they're at least on the basis of students who were permitted to attend on the basis of putting their names in the Goblet of Fire was
Right.
a dozen.
And
And so it's like for there to be a crowd when we know at least one of them is female, if not more.
Yeah.
Because we have Fleur, who is the champion. And
Right.
then I think there's 3 other girls who are like crying because their names didn't come out.
Right. So at most, there's 8 boys from Beauxbaton there.
Right.
Right.
Yes. And that would be assuming that it's not like a 6-6 situation. And that would be assuming that all 8 boys from Beauxbaton are surrounding
Just Parvati and Padma.
Exactly.
And not out dancing with any other girls.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which seems unlikely because probably they came with dates too.
Also seems likely.
Yeah.
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 So I think that would be my best bet.
I think that is a really good point, and I do think you're right. That makes sense to me because otherwise it's like, what fun is it for Beauxbaton and Durmstrang for the students who didn't get to come?
Also true.
You know, like they should be
Yeah.
involved in some capacity.
Right.
Right? That would definitely open up the lines of the purpose of the tournament to like make more connections.
Exactly.
If you bring way more students. So, okay, I will give you that. That 1,200 seats seems to indicate that there are more Beauxbaton and Durmstrang students in attendance than are usually at the school for just the tournament.
Exactly.
Okay.
Even though we never get that exact phrasing for
Yeah.
any reason. But
Yep.
let's see here.
So now Ron is starting to notice as Ron was watching Hermione pass with narrowed eyes, Padma was looking sulky. So Ron is starting to be like, wait a minute.
I know who that is.
It
I know
can
who
be.
she's going with.
Padma was looking sulky. Come on, Ron. I mean, you got to be a little bit better day, dear man.
I know. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
So-
this is not Ron's top moment.
Not his best night for sure. Dumbledore smiled happily as the champions approached the top table, but Karkaroff wore an expression remarkably like Ron's as he watched Crumb and Hermione draw nearer. This to me is surprising. Like, why is Karkaroff like upset with Hermione? Like, is it because she's a Hogwarts student? Is it because she's Muggle-born and like underneath it all he is still have some Death Eater like traits or whatever? You know, I don't understand what his beef is with Hermione.
I agree with you. Yeah, like I don't know exactly what's going on. It seems like he's also like really, really secretive about like the location of Durmstrang as they like start talking, which makes it sound like he's being secretive of like the like trying to like protect his school and its like secrecy. But it could also be the case that if like Durmstrang is so well hidden, it's actually like his own safe haven because he is like effectively on the run from the Death Eaters.
That's true. That's true.
So
that may be like, yeah, like literally he needs Durmstrang to be a secret because he doesn't want the Death Eaters to find him.
Correct.
Ooh, that's a good point. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, but either way, I don't know what beef he specifically has with Hermione other than that. Because at this point, at one point, like Crumb is telling her about the school, but like so far, nothing has happened.
Nothing has happened.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Let's see here. Then we also kind of get like the lowdown of everybody else who was in attendance, all of like the bigwigs, if you will. So we've got Ludo Bagman, Madame Maxime. Mr. Crouch, though, is not there.
Yeah.
And the fifth seat at the table is going to be occupied by the one, the only Weatherby Weasley.
Weatherby Weasley. You wonder what happened. Where's Penelope? You know, do you think they broke up?
Must have.
Must have. You don't think he's allowed to bring a date to this fancy event?
I'm not sure. Maybe even she finally like was like, okay, you're just a little bit too big for your
We never really get any update on Penelope Clearwater.
But not nearly enough.
You know, I mean, she has a pretty rough go of it, all things considered. I mean, she gets attacked by a basilisk. She dates Percy, and then she just disappears.
To where? No one knows.
To where no one knows. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. The Percy, who was wearing brand new navy blue dress robes, an expression of such smugness that Harry thought it ought to be fined.
Oh, the Percy, like compared to Ron, Percy actually has very nice dress robes.
I know. Well, I mean, he has like his own like job.
Yeah, he has a real job and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Not his own house, but his own job.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been promoted.
I've been promoted. Yes. That's like, well, that's how Molly says it about Arthur.
Oh, right.
He's been promoted.
Right. Yes. I'm now Mr. Crouch's personal assistant, and I'm here representing him.
Yes, you were clearly the most qualified person, having worked there for 4 months or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I'm afraid Mr. Crouch is not well at all. Hasn't been right since the World Cup. Hardly surprising. Overwork. He's not as young as he once was, though still quite brilliant, of course. His mind remains great as it ever was, but the World Cup was a fiasco for the whole ministry. It's like, was it a fiasco for the whole ministry? It seems like the event itself was a pretty good success. There was just like, and the campgrounds seem to have been massive.
Right.
Like you had like, I guess 4 Death Eaters, maybe a little more, causing some ruckus in one section of the camp, and someone else cast the Dark Mark. So those are like scary things that happen, but I'm not sure it like makes the entire event a fiasco.
Yeah,
maybe.
It seems like Percy is like trying to like wind through like a very narrow opening here where it's sort of like he needs to both be like, Mr. Crouch is of course still a fantastic wizard. I mean, after all, he's promoted me.
Yes.
And it's like, you know, if you are the assistant to Crouch and Crouch is like losing his grip, then your position is no longer important.
Yeah.
So it's almost like he needs to be like both sort of like, yes, no, he is still great, but also some things are askew.
Yeah, right.
Some things didn't go well.
It's like maybe he has to build up in his mind that the fiasco was like greater than it possibly, way bigger than it was, because that's the only way it makes sense for Mr. Crouch to not be there.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Like it would have caused him to be like so unwell.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then he does like kind of a very condescending thing towards Winky and says Mr. Crouch suffered a huge personal shock with the misbehavior of that household of his, Blinky, or whatever she was called.
Yeah. Like they continue to justify like the firing of Winky throughout the book, which really doesn't make a ton of sense. Like Mr. Crouch is mad that Winky lost his son for a second, but they recovered him, and like his biggest fear is that someone will figure out the secret that he broke his son out of jail. But like Winky knows the secret, so why dismiss her at all?
It's a good point. It's a good point. But the thing I was going to say though about it is that like Percy will go on to say, I think he's found a definite drop in his home comfort since she left, and so it's like the fact that like Winky has departed is like sort of a clever way to make it seemed like Barty Crouch Sr.'s life could be like a lot more challenging.
Right.
All of a sudden.
Right.
Well, like, so it's kind of like, yes, like maybe that's what he's struggling with. Like he doesn't have like his like help anymore.
Right.
You know, but like even that doesn't exactly indicate somebody who's got like a, what would be the term for like a Dungeons and Dragons campaign? Like where your constitution.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like Crouch has got a very high constitution.
Right.
If, you know, if he loses Winky and like his life, like
dissolves. Yeah.
But it seems like that's largely what's going on. But then, of course, he applauds himself and he's like, I'm just glad he knew he had someone he could rely on to take his place.
Yes, someone who definitely recognizes that he is sick and not under the Imperious curse. Of course. Yes. I love this. Harry wanted to ask very much whether Mr. Crouch had stopped calling Percy Weatherby yet.
Resisted the temptation.
Which, don't forget, Mr. Crouch knows over 200 different languages, but can't remember his personal assistant's name. Weatherby. Yeah. Like that. So, but we had a theory about that recently, that like the reason he doesn't want to pay too much attention to Percy is because Percy reminds him too much of his own son.
Yes, like a little bit like overeager, because we only have a small handful of students who we know to have received 12 OWLs, and that would be Barty Crouch Jr., Percy, and Bill. So it does. Yeah, you're absolutely right, though. It's like, it seems like for someone as sharp as him, you're not forgetting this person's name. You're keeping them at arm's length on purpose.
Exactly. But then Dumbledore decides to shift the conversation away here and order his dinner, and gets possibly the most dignified thing he could with pork chops. I don't know why I think it's so funny that he orders pork chops, or that they're even serving pork chops, which is a perfectly normal dish to have, but it just sounds very funny that Dumbledore's ordering it.
It's not a terribly unusual like thing to have, but there is something that seems like inherently like baked potato about it, where it's like, it just seems so non-extravagant.
Right.
You know, like it would even feel like common for him to like eat the cuisine of like maybe like one of the visiting schools.
Right.
You know, to like have like a very like French meal to you know, sort of be like, yes, of course, Maxime, I'm eating your culinary
bouillabaisse. And it just erupts through the plate.
Oh, darn it, I should have ordered a bowl. The number of different ways we can make bouillabaisse. Hilarious.
I know. Oh, man. And then let's see. Now this is one of those things where like he probably didn't realize it, but we haven't heard Crumb talk at all. So far, he's just been standing in the corners looking surly at everything.
Yes.
Yes, but now he is talking, and with quite a bit of enthusiasm. He says, we have just 4 floors, and the fires are lit for only magical purposes. Which is that's the line I was talking about earlier, that the fires are lit only for magical purposes. Like, why? Why wouldn't you just have them lit? I don't understand.
They must be somewhere that doesn't have a natural store of wood.
But you don't even need wood for like magic wizard fires, you know?
I'm grasping at straws here. Something they're definitely not doing for fire starter.
I know. But anyway, and then this is when he starts talking about the castle. Says, but then some of you are flying every day over the lakes and the mountains. So this is like a good like background explanation for maybe why Crumb is so good at Quidditch. And I love that like he loves just the act of going out and flying like all day, every day.
Yes.
And that is what he really likes. And it's like, oh, of course he does, because he's a Quidditch player.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It definitely seems like this is almost like where he is not as comfortable on land, but on the broomstick, he feels so at home. And it sounds like the grounds are so large that they can just go and spend plenty of time doing exactly that. And it's yielded such tremendous results in terms of how good he is then at Quidditch.
I guess it would make sense too why Bulgaria in general is so good at Quidditch.
It's a good point. I mean, because that's the other thing too, is that you have to wonder whether or not Durmstrang is in the nation of Bulgaria, or if like he is just Bulgarian and went to Durmstrang, because otherwise you could at least start to zero in on a rough approximation of where Durmstrang would be. You would know it's in a country.
Right.
But that doesn't necessarily seem to be explicit.
Yeah, no, not necessarily. But it does kind of feel like, you know, this is like why Canada's so good at hockey. You know, it's like, yeah, because they have access to frozen lakes all the time.
Yes, yeah. There's lots of reason to be on skates.
Yeah.
Yep, that's an absolutely good point. But this is where, you know, we get the line where Karkaroff chimes in. It's like, now, Victor. Like, you know, let's see here. Don't giving away anything else now, or your charming friend will know exactly where to find us.
Yeah, you're right. That is what he's concerned about, that people will know where to find him.
Yeah, he's not worried about the school.
Yeah, he's not worried about Hermione. He's worried about the Death Eaters.
Yes, and I think Dumbledore might even be reading right through him here, because Dumbledore smiled, his eyes twinkling. Igor, all the secrecy. One would almost think you didn't want visitors.
Yeah. Well, Dumbledore.
It's like, I don't.
Yeah, I do not.
They will kill me.
Yeah.
You were there.
Yes, are we not right to be proud of that? We alone know our school's secrets and the right to protect them. And then this is where Dumbledore. Okay, do you think he is describing the room of requirement here?
I 100% think he is.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is one of those things where I think there's a small, like anachronistic mistake. Well, there's many, but in Secrets of Dumbledore, the Fantastic Beasts movie, where I believe they go to the room of requirement to like go through whatever that portally transporty thing is. And I don't think Dumbledore knows about the room of requirement. Because it seems effectively, and I think even when they get into the room of requirement, they even say like, you know, like it might yield exactly what you need. So if you need to go to the bathroom, it might be, say, a restroom.
Yeah.
And so that's basically exactly what he's describing here, is that he's on his way to the bathroom and ends up finding a beautifully proportioned room that he had never seen before, containing a really rather magnificent collection of chamber pots.
Yes. But see, it sounds like he doesn't understand. But then the next page, it said he's going to say his like reasons for like why it's like maybe it's only accessible at 5:30 in the morning, or maybe at the quarter moon, or when the seeker has an exceptionally full bladder, which if it's the room of requirement, it's the last one. But then it's like, it says Harry snorted into his plate of goulash. Percy frowned, but Harry could have sworn Dumbledore had given him a very small wink. So it's like that the small wink makes it like, okay, is the wink Dumbledore like saying like, did you hear me? There's a room that can give you things. Like, is that him giving Harry a hint that the room exists?
It's a good thought.
Or is it a wink that is just like, yes, I'm trying to be a little embarrassing.
Okay,
I'm trying to embarrass Percy.
Let me amend myself. I think he knows.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think even that, because then it would be like a little nod to Harry, sort of like, you know, hint, hint. Here's like another secret thing that you could know about that could eventually come in handy. But the other thing I like about it is that when Tom Riddle arrives to ask Dumbledore for a job, he goes and hides the diadem in the room of requirement, believing that he was like the only person to ever have discovered its existence.
Right.
And I love the extreme arrogance that he's just so wrong, and that Dumbledore absolutely knows about it.
Right. Yeah.
So that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would be amending my own little personal headcanon. The other thing I thought was kind of fun here, and this is me just absolutely reaching, just to be absolutely clear, but it says, or it may only appear at the quarter moon, or when the seeker.
The seeker.
Is he speaking in third person?
Does being a third person?
And it's like, I mean, was Dumbledore a little bit of a seeker himself?
Or maybe this is another hint to Harry.
Ooh.
The seeker.
Yes, it's like Harry, the seeker.
The seeker. Wink.
Wink, wink.
Wink. You're in the
Yeah.
bathroom.
Just interesting phrasing. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, there it is. Then we get to hear a little of what's her butt, Fleur Delacour's conversation.
Oh, what's her butt?
Oh, what's her butt Delacour over there, you know, talking to Roger Davies, who is just sort of like gawking at her. And he says, we have none of this ugly hammer in the halls. And if a poltergeist ever entered into Beauxbatons, it would be expelled like that. And she slapped her hand onto the table. This is inaccurate for what it's worth. Peeves has been expelled from the castle before, and while some poltergeists you can get rid of, Peeves is like the most notorious one in all of Britain's history.
Yeah.
Apparently, having been there basically since the start of the school.
As he should be. He's part of the infrastructure.
Absolutely part of the infrastructure. But there was an attempt to get rid of him at one point with like this giant unbreakable glass bell jar and a bunch of like reinforcing spells on it, and they like captured him inside of it, and he immediately broke it and just like stole all the I think there's like he stole a bunch of like fireworks and like started blasting them off throughout the school.
Yes.
So they, even with their best effort to get rid of Peeves, he just like which sounded like significant magical effort to get rid of him, it was a laughable obstacle to him.
He persists.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's actually a funny one. There was like a Pokemon Go-esque version that was like Harry Potter-ified back in the day called Wizards Unite.
Yes.
And it was such a deep cut reference, but if you were to run into Peeves and then use like the spell to like capture him or whatever, it would put him in a glass jar.
Yeah.
Like that was like the animation you got.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, Wizards Unite going into the archives to pull out like a little piece of canon there. So
yeah.
kind of a fun one. But
yeah.
Anyway, then Harry looks around and sees Hagrid sitting at one of the other staff tables, who was back in his horrible Harry Brown suit and gazing up at the top table. Harry saw him give a small wave and looking around saw Madame Maxime return it, her opals glittering in the candlelight.
Ooh. And then this is another little like Easter egg thing here. It says Hermione was trying to teach Crumb to say her name properly because he's saying Hermione. This entire conversation is in here for the benefit of the readers who by book 4 still didn't quite know how to say Hermione.
Yes.
So she is sounding it out syllable by syllable, not for Crumb, but for you, the reader.
For you, the reader.
Hermione.
Yeah. Hermione. Yep.
Yes.
And just for fun record keeping, we used to call her Hermoine.
Hermoine
in the early days. And
Yeah.
and I think that, which honestly is just ridiculous. I think that it was this is like one of those things when Dad was reading it to us. I think he must have been like switching the I and the O and getting like that sound. And it just sort of like maybe mistakenly a little bit.
Yes.
Because otherwise it would be pretty obviously not Hermoine.
Yeah.
But I do just think it's funny that that's like we had called her that for so long.
For a while.
Yeah. I also suspect that if you're like just in Britain where Hermione is like a slightly more common name, maybe you just know.
Maybe.
But
yeah.
in America, it's pretty uncommon.
Yeah, definitely. People did not know at all how to say Hermione. I think our dad also said perfix instead of prefix.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so funny looking back on it because they would seem like such innocuous mistakes. And probably from his perspective, he's just reading us another book, which we read lots of books, like it wasn't like we didn't know the absolute significance of what we were being read in those moments.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of funny. It's like, like a little mistake. It's like, well, kind of like who cares? What will this affect in time to come?
Oh
It's
my
like
gosh.
our whole career nowadays.
Do you know the first time I read the Chronicles of Narnia in like 7th grade, I had a couple of these mistakes on like very important words in the story.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. So like even Narnia for whatever reason. And like, I got several books in and like whenever my brain would see the word Narnia, it would just like eliminate the second N. So I would just call it Naria.
Wow.
Yeah. So like I went through like half the series just thinking of it as Naria.
Chronicles of Narnia.
The Chronicles of Narnia, like whatever, it's a made up word anyway. And then the other really bad one was Aslan. I was adding like an extra loop to the N on the end and was calling him Aslam. And like I remember, I think I was like writing like a paper about it for like my teacher because that was one of the books I was reading in class, and she like corrected it by just like it's Aslan, and I was like, what? And I was like, no, it's not. And I looked at the pages and I was like, but that's like it's pretty. I was like so embarrassed to have gotten like because. You just feel so stupid afterwards.
I mean, genuinely, I remember the same thing with this book series where Dad was reading it to us. So like I was just hearing what I was hearing. Instead of Albus Dumbledore, I was hearing Alvis.
Oh.
So I was always creating this like Elvis-like persona around Dumbledore, which is so inaccurate.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. Elvis Dumbledore. Although actually in the French version, Tom Riddle's name is Elvis.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
So there's that. It's not completely off base.
Yeah.
Anyway, so finally, that's all for Hermione. So then Hermione is not terribly preoccupied that Crumb gets it right and she just says close enough. She said catching Harry's eye and grinning. Let's see here. And then the Weird Sisters are making their way out. They've got a set of drums, several guitars, a lute, a cello, and some bagpipes were set upon it, which sounds like quite the lineup.
It does. You know how the high schoolers love bagpipe music at their balls.
Yes, it's notoriously popular.
Yeah, very popular, very good. But they're dressed, they're extremely hairy. I love that their robes have been artfully ripped and torn.
Yes.
It's like, you know what? Certain things about rock just transcend, muggles and magic and things. A magic beyond what we teach here, you might say.
A magic, yes. This is something, though, that I think is really funny about like rockers is that I have to imagine the torn clothes in the earliest of iterations were genuine, but at some point in time, they're doing it on purpose.
Right.
So these guys you see up on stage looking all effortless and cool and like, yeah, look at our ripped clothes. It's like there was a day where they sat down and did that.
Right.
Like that's no mistake.
They got it. Yes.
Yeah. Just a little thing to keep in the back of your mind next time you're at a concert.
Yes. But so now the dancing begins and Harry doesn't quite know what to do. But Parvati seizes his hand, places one arm on her waist and was holding the other tight in hers. And Harry says, it wasn't as bad as it could have been, which I do remember. It's like, it's such a scary thing to like go dance with a girl or anyone for the first time. And then once it's happening, you're like, oh, it's really not that bad.
Hey, it's like,
sure, I can do this.
I'm actually kind of having fun.
I can just kind of like rotate in a circle here. This isn't that bad. All right. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Good stuff.
Yep.
Yep.
Then we got Neville and Ginny were dancing nearby. He could see Ginny wincing frequently as Neville trod on her toes.
Poor Ginny.
Poor Ginny. Well, although this is kind of a funny one because I feel like in the movies they completely take this plot and like flip it upside down, and like Neville is like practicing his dancing and he like stays out super late.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I think he's actually like quite the good date.
Yeah.
Which I sort of love for Neville because sometimes this happens in the real world as well. Like you would have people who you wouldn't expect to be like light on their feet, and then they end up like being like they can like, you know, totally rip up the dance floor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway.
Then we get Mad-Eye Moody doing an extremely ungainly two-step with Professor Sinestra, who gets very little page time. But I'm kind of surprised that Mad-Eye joins in at all.
Same here. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Maybe this is Barty Crouch Jr. just being like, you know what? It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. You know what? Back in my day, I could cut a rug, you know? I'm going to go show him what's up. Sinestra.
The setup here, of course, though, is the nice sock spotter.
Yes.
Moody growled as he passed, his magical eye staring through Harry's robes. Oh, yeah, Dobby the house elf knitted them for me, said Harry, grinning.
Harry's wearing the socks.
To the ball.
To
it's
the ball.
As much as he thought all the other gifts were like much more satisfactory than Dobby's socks, he still wore them.
He wore them
that very night.
I know. I do like that he did that. Although this ends up being a very oddly important minor exchange between Moody and Harry, because it is because Harry says this that Moody knows to stage a conversation with McGonagall in front of Dobby about gillyweed so that Harry can complete the second task.
Precisely.
Yes.
Yep. And he will actually, Barty Crouch Jr., when he comes to later, will explain this exactly. Like, this is the moment. That's not observation. That's not like taking leaps. Like this. That's canonical.
Yes.
How it works.
Yes. Then Parvati points out that says he is so creepy. I don't think that I should be allowed. Which I think Parvati is probably quite correct here.
I was like reasonable position to have.
Reasonable
absolutely.
position.
Yeah, because I mean the previous phrase was his magical eye staring through Harry's robes. It's like, yeah, that is not something teachers should possess the ability to do.
Nope.
Let's see here. So then the first song ends, and I think at this point in time, Harry is just basically like, okay, I have fulfilled my obligation, so let's sit down. So he starts to be a bad date just alongside Ron.
Oh, I know. I love it. Her provider says, oh, but this is a really good one. It says, no, I don't like it. Harry lied, which means he does like the song.
Yes, and he lies twice in the same chapter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Harold James Potter, the chosen one.
I know.
Lying to avoid dancing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. Let's see. Then
Ron has not asked Padma to dance at all, which means had like she not been swept away, she would have been stuck sitting next to Ron doing literally nothing all night. Because Ron has no interest at dancing, sitting there with her arms, legs crossed, 1 foot jiggling in time to the music. Like, dude, Ron, you got to dance some. You are like, what'd you come to this dance for at all? Why'd you even want to come?
Why'd you want to come? Yeah.
Why'd you want to come?
Just to be there, just to find out who Hermione went with. I mean, you could have found the next day anyway.
Exactly.
But yeah, so Harry sits down. How's it going? Ron was glaring at Hermione and Crumb, who were dancing nearby. Padma was sitting, just as you just said. Every now and then she threw a disgruntled look at Ron, who was completely ignoring her.
Like I could totally see that, just like, I'm here.
I know.
But Hermione comes to sit down. Victor's just gone off for some drinks, and Ron is not having it. Victor hasn't asked you to call him Vicky yet.
What's up with you? Like Hermione is shocked that he's responding this way.
I know.
That means at least on some level in Hermione's mind, she went thinking like, Ron's going to think this is awesome.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even that though, it's like maybe in her mind, she's convinced herself that like Ron is going to think this is like really cool, like make him like her more or something. Like,
right.
I went with Victor Crumb, the guy you're so obsessed with. Can you believe it?
Right.
We can be friends with him now.
Yes. I've got an in.
Yeah.
Tickets whenever I want them.
Can you imagine if she was just like so excited, like on behalf, like what if the real reason she wanted to go was like because now she can like introduce Ron to Victor Crumb? Maybe that is what it was, you know?
Total misfire.
Not at all what happens. Totally blows up in her face. So, I love that Ron says, if you don't know, I'm not going to tell you for like, I don't know, 2 seconds or so.
Hermione stared at him, then Harry, who shrugged.
Oh.
Harry is so, whenever they're arguing, Harry is so unhelpful.
I know. He tries to help in this one.
He
eventually.
does. He chimes in. He's from Durmstrang, spat Ron. He's competing against Harry, against Hogwarts. You're fraternizing with the enemy. That's what you're doing.
I love this. Ron was obviously casting around for words strong enough to describe Hermione's crime. Ron's method is to just repeat one word until he gets there, not like Harry, who's like, you're fraternizing with the enemy. Hermione's mouth fell open. Don't be so stupid.
Yes, yeah. Who's got a model of him up in their dormitory? To which I was like, checkmate, Ron. Checkmate.
I know. This is slam dunk.
Yeah.
And then Ron, though, very good at just ignoring all the really good points everyone else is going to make because he has no defense at all. He's like, I suppose he asked you to come with him when you were both in the library. And she's like, I don't like the way she says this. She's like, he'd been coming to the library every day to try and talk to me, but he hadn't been able to pluck up the courage. Pluck up the courage. I don't like the word pluck. Pluck up the courage.
So this also means that Crumb, not very plucky.
Not very plucky.
No.
Yeah. Do you think he'd be a little braver?
The man is lacking in pluck.
Do you know what, though? He's been doing this for a long time. Like, he's having the same problem like Harry had asking out Cho, you know? It's like he faced down the dragon, but asking Cho to the ball, pretty difficult.
Pretty difficult.
And it's like, I just won the Quidditch, or I just lost the Quidditch World Cup. I just defeated the dragon. There's this girl. At the library, not necessarily surrounded by a crowd of friends, but like by Harry Potter most of the time. Like, geez.
That's pretty difficult to get
Pretty
past.
difficult.
Yeah. Let's see here. Then Ron is sort of like, clearly he's just like Karkaroff's student. He knows who you hang around with. He's just trying to get closer to Harry.
Yeah, they're absolutely. Is Parvati still here at this point? Has she gotten up and left the table yet?
Or is she just witnessing all this?
Yeah. No. She already left. She already left with the boy from Beauxbatons. Yeah, I was like, this would be such an extra wrinkle to if Parvati was like witnessing this entire fight.
Right.
Yeah. So let's see. Then, Ron, nothing is going to deter him from being upset about this because really what he is jealous, not mad.
Right.
Yes. Garen, he says the only reason he would have asked you is to get information, and this is a real, genuine slap in the face because it's like what he's effectively said is he doesn't like you or find you interesting at all. He's just using you.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which obviously, if you've already had Hermione's night, this is so not true. And this just sounds like Ron being it's basically what Ron's saying is no one would find you interesting enough to ask you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Myself included.
That's not great. That's not great. Yeah. So basically, like he's just trying to get you to help out with the egg. It's like I never have more held that egg. Like let's see here. I want Harry to win the tournament. Harry knows that, don't you, Harry?
Yes. Harry, keep me out of it.
Right.
But then, she says the whole tournament's supposed to be about getting to know foreign wizards, making friends with them. And Ron is like, no, it isn't. It's about winning. And it's like, well, maybe not so much.
Right.
Now they're starting to attack the Decrension. And then Ron, Harry, to his credit, does it Ron, I haven't got a problem with any of this. It's okay. So good try. But again, Ron is ignoring it. He is not to be deterred. Oh, Padma's still been here for all of this. Oh gosh, I didn't realize Parvati got up. But Padma's just sitting here watching this argument. Chimes in, not really reading the situation, if I'm being honest there, Padma.
Yeah. Are you going to ask me to dance at all? No. It's like, I think that was clear.
Yeah, fine. And she got up to join Parvati and one of the Beauxbatons boys, who conjured up one of his friends so fast, Harry could have sworn he zoomed in there with a summoning charm. Yeah. Oh, dear.
Yeah. And then out of nowhere, Crumb shows up. And you would normally think that for Ron, it's Ron, Harry, and Crumb in this moment. This is like best case scenario. Remember when he wanted to kip on a camp bed so that Crumb could sleep in the dormitory?
I know. If only he had come with her to the table. That might have been a little better too. Because he could have been like, oh, hello, you are friends of Hermione Nini or whatever.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
It would have gone so much better.
Could have.
Then Ron just ends up being a total jerk because he's like, where's Hermione? And he's like, no idea. Lost her, have you? And then Crumb was looking surly again. It's like, I can imagine just sort of being like, he's a fish out of water in the situation. Like he's kind of like, okay, probably even because Harry is like the person he is worried about.
Yeah.
When he's right there and he's like, well, if you see her, tell her I have drinks.
Yeah.
And he
slouched off.
I just wrote, poor guy.
I know. And then, oh gosh, Percy's timing is so bad here. Made friends with Victor Crumb, have you, Ron?
That's the whole point. No.
I know. He just says all the exact wrong things. It's like everything Hermione just said. That's the whole point. International magical cooperation.
Right. Yep.
Oh, dear. Yeah, that's not what Ron wants to hear. So now Percy takes Padma's vacant seat, and what Ludo Bagman comes over, kisses McGonagall's hand to make his way back through the crowds, at which point Fred and George accosted him. Huge hint here that what Fred and George are up to is stuff to do with Ludo Bagman.
Yes. Absolutely. Yep. What do they think they're doing? Annoying senior ministry members, Percy hissed, watching Fred and George suspiciously.
Yeah.
No respect.
Yeah.
But Ludo, honestly, I feel like he rolls with what has just happened so quickly.
Yeah.
Because he knows he's like being approached for something he is super screwed up on. And like the moment that he sits down, he's already built like a backstory.
He's a
like,
very fast liar.
Yes. I hope my brothers weren't bothering you, Mr. Bagman, said Percy at once. What? Oh, no, not at all. No, they were just telling me a bit more about those fake wands of theirs, wondering if I could advise them on the marketing. I promised to put them in touch with some helpful contacts of mine at Zonko's Shoke Shop. It's like... He like walked across the room and like had this locked.
I know, ready. Like he was ready to go. And then Percy didn't look happy about this at all, which is funny to me because he just congratulated Ron on making contacts and connections with other wizards. And now it's like Fred and George are bothering someone at the ministry, though. I will not stand for it.
What's hilarious, though, is the very next line. It says, Percy didn't look happy about this at all, and Harry was prepared to bet that he would be rushing to tell Mrs. Weasley. And it's like, I was like, good thing Ludo's right there.
I know, Ludo's right there. How much you want to put on that? How much you want to
taking these odds? What do you think the odds are that Percy's going to go tell his mom about the situation?
I'll give you good odds on that. Really good.
Really good, yeah. What do you think? 100 galleons?
100 galleons? Let's do it. Let's put it in writing, okay?
Yeah.
You give me the money right now.
Yeah, and I'll give you the money when we discover what happens next.
Yes. You have a time limit on this, or yeah.
Right, yeah. Let's see here. How do you feel the tournament's going, Mr. Bagman? Our department's quite satisfied. The hitch with the Goblet of Fire. He glanced to Harry. It was a little unfortunate, of course, but
as if it's Harry's fault. Percy is being such a giant like wrench at this table, which is to say tool.
Yes.
He is just like, I cannot stand the smarm of him on this evening. Like, that hitch with the Goblet of Fire was a bit unfortunate. Yeah, we know what I'm talking about.
That kid.
Oh my gosh. And then it gets even worse. And he says, oh, I'm sure Mr. Couch will be up in about no time, said Percy importantly. But in the meantime, I'm more than willing to take up the slack. Of course, it's not all attending balls. Oh no, I've had to deal with all sorts of things that have cropped up in his absence. You heard Ali Bashir was caught smuggling in a consignment of flying carpets into the country. The airy laugh gets me.
You executed it perfectly.
Thank you.
I think you just gave yourself a vote in my book for being Percy in the reboot. But what I do think is funny is that Ali Bashir is actually something that is brought up during the Quidditch World Cup.
Yes, this is nice continuity.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Specifically about flying carpets.
Indeed.
And Arthur was like, if I've told him once, I've told him 100 times.
Yes.
That they're considered Muggle artifacts or whatever.
Muggle artifacts, not like broomsticks.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on now.
Inherently magical, just like hair.
But anyway, Ron and Harry decide they're going to remove themselves from the table. They're like, yeah, we're going to get more drinks, Percy. See ya. Yeah, and they head out into the Rose Garden, the maze in the Rose Garden. You suppose this is a hint?
Oh, could be like a little bit of like
a little
hey,
tiny hedge maze.
You guys paying attention?
You guys paying attention?
Do you see what's going on?
Yeah, that'd be amazing if it was like the exact layout, just like smaller.
Would you say it would be amazing?
I would say it would be amazing. Yeah.
Get it? Because maze is in the middle of amazing.
Yeah, I got it. And who do they find there, Ben? The spy.
The spy.
Don't see what there is to fuss about, Igor. Igor, probably. Yeah.
It's definitely Igor.
He says, Severus, you cannot pretend this isn't happening. So this is Karkaroff and Snape talking about the dark mark getting darker and darker on their forearm. It's becoming clearer for months. I'm becoming seriously concerned. I can't deny it. Then flee. Which he does. He does do.
Yes, he does.
Eventually, as soon as the dark mark actually burns, he flees. Probably to Durmstrang, where maybe the Death Eaters don't know where he is.
Possibly.
Yes.
Snape and Karkaroff came around the corner. Snape had his wand out and was blasting rose bushes apart. This is a really like kind of vital conversation be happening where literally anybody could just overhear you.
I know.
Which people currently are. We get a little bit of trivia again, and we brought this up earlier, but 10 points from Ravenclaw Fawcett and 10 points from Hufflepuff 2 Stebbins.
Stebbins and Fawcett. Oh, I think we've had this question.
I believe we have. The
Stebbins
thing about Stebbins comes up one other time, and Snape actually went to school with a Stebbins.
Oh, did he?
And they are present during the scene where they're taking their own OWLs. And Flitwick is like, that means you too, Stebbins.
Oh, okay.
So possibly this Stebbins' mother?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the right age range.
Yeah. Let's see here. So then Snape runs into Harry and Ron and is just like, what are you two doing? And Ron's just like, we're walking.
Yeah.
Like what possible problem can you have with us being out here?
Yeah.
That's the point of this courtyard
That's
space.
the point of this courtyard space. You're blasting holes through it.
Yeah.
Which Harry will try and blast a hole through the maze himself later on. So this may be not really foreshadowing so much, but it does happen again.
That's a good point.
Two nickels, am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Says, Ron, we're walking, not against law. Keep walking then. Like, yeah, we were gonna.
It's like, nothing about this is brand new to us.
Definitely don't want to stand here and talk to you.
Right. We'll be on our way.
Yeah.
Let's see here. But then we do kind of get like a little bit of a hint that Snape and Karkaroff are on the first name basis, which certainly is a little bit suspicious, more towards Snape than Karkaroff at this point in time.
Well, like they know that Karkaroff is a Death Eater. I guess they don't know that Snape was, but like figure it out, you guys.
Yeah,
come on.
Seems pretty obvious.
Connect them. I guess they don't know about the dark marks either just yet.
Also true. We haven't been fully introduced to those yet.
Yeah.
But then we get the run in, obviously with Hagrid and Madame Maxime, and it's oddly uncomfortable in a lot of ways.
It is the worst. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. The moment I saw you, I knew. Oh boy. This like Harry even recognizes it. This didn't sound like the sort of scene they ought to walk in on somehow. And by somehow he means in any case.
Yes, agree.
Yes.
Exactly. Yep. I mean, and to be fair, then they look around and he's trying to look for like a way out. And sure enough, Fleur Delacour and Roger Davies are standing half concealed in a rose bush nearby.
Yeah. What do you think they're doing? You think they're snogging?
I don't know.
I know.
Maybe Fleur is just over there being like, listen, I only asked you to make Cedric jealous.
Like, yeah, she's like, she's also left the dance floor. She's like, I don't want to dance with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, where's
dancing. Dumb, isn't it? That's probably what it is.
Right.
But apparently this is enough for Ron not to want to be seen at all and be he'd rather be trapped here listening to Hagrid and Madame Maxime than risk walking past Fleur.
Right. But it does say Ron's eyes widening in horror at the sight of Fleur, shook his head vigorously and pulled Harry deeper into the shadows behind the reindeer. So going back to our chapter art, it is 100% confirmed Harry and Ron.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, so
and then Madame Maxime hasn't caught on quite yet. She's still enjoying this line of flirting, or what she presumes to be flirting from Hagrid. Is what did you know? Agreed. A purr in her low voice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyone else's spine just shiver?
Yes. Let's see. So Harry's trying to ignore it. It says, instead, he tried to interest himself in a beetle crawling along the stone reindeer's back. The beetle is, of course, Rita Skeeter.
It is indeed. That's how she's getting the scoop. And then basically, it kind of cuts back to Hagrid, who's just like, I knew you were like me. Was it your mother or your father?
I don't know what you mean, agreed.
Then Hagrid gives us, to be fair, he just gives us a little exposition about himself. What's going on. We get sort of like the unusual relationship that is between his
giantess and his extra small father.
Yes. By the time I was 6, I could lift him and put him up on the dresser. Used to make him laugh.
Yeah.
It's like
great.
Oh boy.
I don't want to understand how you came to be at all.
Nope. Yep.
Not so much.
Let's just not think about that ever again.
Let's not think about it. Yep. Of course, we find out that Hagrid, similar to Harry, was an orphan shortly after he got to Hogwarts. And Dumbledore was also very kind to Hagrid, which was great. But then Hagrid he might have been able to save it. Still at this point. But now he's like, what about you? And then Madame Maxime got to her feet and she's like, it is chilly.
It is all of a sudden, isn't it?
Yeah. He's like, she's really picking up what he's putting down now. And she's like, I'm going to walk away before you officially offend me right now. And boy, Hagrid's just like,
he's missing it.
I know. I love the line. It's like Harry could have told Hagrid it was best not to answer. This is Harry, who even Harry isn't too thick to realize this situation. Was very bad at reading women otherwise.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. But I would make the strong argument here that I think Madame Maxime is the one who is being incredibly rude.
Well, absolutely she is, because Hagrid is correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He is correct, and basically he has just admitted himself to being
half giant.
Half giant.
Yes.
And
He's being very vulnerable.
He's being very vulnerable. And her literal next thing is that based on his suggestion that she shares this quality with him is, I have never been more insulted in my life. Half giant? Me? I have big bones. And it's like, he just said he was half giant.
Said that means, yes, that you consider it that it would be the greatest insult of your life, meaning that you are now like turning that around at Hagrid, saying this is a giant insult to you.
What a terrible quality to have about yourself. Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's not good on her part. I think it's worse. I mean, Hagrid's, he's certainly not reading it well, but I think it's coming from a place of innocence. So
yes. Well, but you're right though. He's being vulnerable, and I think he's expecting her to like return the favor. And like it sounds like Hagrid has like needed someone to talk to about this sort of stuff.
It would be hard to have harbored this effectively all on your own, because even his best friends Harry, Ron, and Hermione also don't know.
Yeah, like they don't know, and like once the scoop gets out, he's actively been concealing this.
Yeah,
like he knows what the stigma would be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's very isolating. That causes for a rather lonesome existence for somebody who always brings positivity to the table. So
yeah,
that's a really tough moment for Hagrid, who then I think does he stood up straight away, not back to the castle, but off into the dark grounds in the direction of his cabin.
Oh, so sad. It's so sad. Just wandering through the dark, all lonesome, probably crying.
Yeah.
But like Ron has taken the information and he is like, oh my, wait, what did he just say about himself? No.
Yeah.
But I love Harry's response. And he's just like, what? So what difference does it make? And this is classic Harry. It's like whenever he encounters these situations where he doesn't know the background on anything, he arrives at the correct conclusion.
He does. Yeah. It's exactly like when he meets Dobby for the first time and he asks him to sit down. It's like,
right.
It doesn't occur to Harry to enact prejudice in these situations. He doesn't have any like preconceived notions, and his just regular demeanor is what comes out, which is just kind and polite.
Right.
And so you end up having, so Harry's sort of like, I don't understand why this would be a problem. It's like, we know Hagrid. We know Hagrid's not dangerous. Like,
right. Like, who cares?
So who cares?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And like Ron does agree with him. And he's like, no, of course Hagrid's amazing, and anyone who knows him won't care.
Right.
The problem is people who don't know him will care.
Exactly. Yep. So he goes inside to explain that. When they do return to the Great Hall, though, we do get this one line. This is the thing we brought up earlier. Parvati and Padma were now sitting at a distant table with a whole crowd of Beauxbatons boys.
Yeah.
And Hermione was once more dancing with Crumb. But so the whole crowd of Beauxbatons boys, like, to me, this has got to be like a table full,
right,
of people.
That it is what it sounds like. And I mean, like at most, I think we said there can be 8 of them.
Right.
If it's just the people who came on, but which I mean would qualify as a whole crowd.
It would qualify as a whole crowd,
I suppose, but it just means that literally none of the Beauxbaton boys are out on the floor
at all.
And that there were only 4 Beauxbaton girls. And I don't know, in my mind it's 6 and 6, but
it does seem like it would be like that. Yeah.
I guess if you had a crowd of 6 girls around you, you'd probably feel like this is quite a crowd.
To be fair, I would absolutely feel that way.
Yeah.
That is a very good point. But I think it also helps explain why there are so many tables. And also it would be like, way less fun to be the attending schools if you didn't get to do any of the festivities because you just simply weren't there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here. So then Ron goes on to explain to Harry, because he's just basically, what's the problem with giants? And he's like, well, they're not very nice.
Look, he does the same thing again, like where he's trying to search for the word they're not very nice.
He's not saying
He's not saying He does the repeat a word.
Yep.
He has a different vocal. Man, that is attention to detail.
Are we going to end up making a whole video about a vocal crutch?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I mean, that seems, maybe we can't get there. Maybe a short.
The most magical of them all.
The most magical Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, let's see here. So Harry just continues to be like, who cares? There's nothing wrong with Hagrid. I know there isn't, but blimey, no wonder he keeps it quiet. I always thought he got in the bed of a way. God, wow. I always thought he got in the way of a bad engorgement charm when he was a kid or something. Didn't like to mention it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, that's interesting. Like, I think even as soon as we got introduced to the concept of giants, I think I always thought Hagrid was like a half giant.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, it's interesting that there could have been other theories that like he like swallowed Skelegro or like got hit with a bad engorgement charm and it's just like extra big for reasons.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like, and it makes sense too, but they're really just, it must be a very small community of people that would fall into this particular column.
Indeed.
So,
yeah.
Let's see here. So we learn a little bit more about how the giants are like kind of abroad. They hide out in mountains mostly. This is going to come back up in Order of the Phoenix because that's where Madame Maxime and Hagrid are going to go to get them or try to get them.
Yep.
But yeah, Harry is sort of like, well, if Hagrid's a half giant, then she definitely is. Like big bones. The only thing that's got bigger bones than her is a dinosaur.
Yeah. It's funny to hear them talk about dinosaurs because things like that don't come up very often in the wizarding world.
They don't. Yeah. It doesn't feel like, it almost feels like Ron would be like, what's a dinosaur?
What's a dinosaur? No, but like, this is like, I think if you read about the Patronuses, like it is possible to have Patronuses of extinct animals.
Oh.
Like there are like
saber-toothed tigers.
There is like
mammoths.
a woolly mammoth one. Yeah, that is known. It's like, I think it's possible to have like a T-Rex, Patronus or something.
That'd be so cool.
It's so unlikely because your personality would be so unlikely to be tied to something that doesn't exist anymore, but not impossible, I suppose.
Impossible. We said we were going to try to go shorter on this one.
We did not.
We did not. We're at an hour.
Cresting 2 hours.
Yes, indeed. Anyway, so let's see here. So basically, we're getting really to the end of the chapter, though, is the most important thing. Harry tried not to watch Cho and Cedric too much. Like he's kind of dealing with his own jealousy. Finally, we reach midnight. They're on their way.
I feel like he could have asked Cho for a dance pretty successfully.
Oh, I definitely think so.
Yeah.
Like, do you mind if I cut in for a dance? Like,
yeah, 100%. Yeah, right. Exactly.
He's beyond mortified at this point in time.
I think so, probably. Yeah.
Hard to come back.
Too bad. You know what Cho should have done? She should have gone and asked Harry.
That's exactly it.
That'd have been the polite thing to do.
That would have.
Not really.
Also would have worked though.
You know whose fault this is? Cho.
Well, let's blame her.
Yeah.
No, it's not. But anyway, so then finally the dance is over. They're at the entrance hall, and of course, of all people to be yelling for Harry, it was Cedric Diggory.
Yeah.
And Harry can see Cho waiting for him in the entrance hall below. And she's like, yeah, he said Harry coldly as Cedric ran up the stairs towards him. Yeah. And it's like, you can only imagine here, it's like Cedric, who is just so kind-hearted all the time and certainly doesn't know that he has been out with the girl that Harry would love to be with. And he's trying to do Harry an absolute solid here. So he's like, listen, I owe you one for telling me about the dragons. You know the golden egg. Does yours wail when you open it? Yeah, said Harry. Wouldn't it be funny if Harry was like, no? Like it does something, it says something different entirely. He'd be like, oh, this might not help at all.
Right.
Well, take a bath, okay? What? Take a bath and Cedric does it too. But he's in the maze too.
Do you think he had to deal with the Sphinx as well?
Maybe he could have.
He could. It sounds like he could have.
Yeah. Do you see this vocal crutch here, Jay?
I do.
He absolutely could have.
He really could have. Yeah. And maybe he did. I will say this though. It is it is a smidge arrogant for Cedric to assume Harry has not figured out the egg. There is that. It's like imagine he gives him this hint. He's like, well, take a bath. And Harry's like, yeah, that sings the song.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
That would have been great.
And Cedric would have been like,
crap, I still owe you.
Kid's a fourth year and he's running laps around me.
Yeah,
not yet said, but he will.
Yeah.
Sorry. Tell you what, Cedric said. Use the prefect's bathroom, 4th floor. To the left of that statue of Boris the Bewildered, which is a piece of trivia that I will always fail on.
Boris the Bewildered.
If you ask me, I will say a fruit bowl, and I will say the password's Pine Fresh, and I know that it's the kitchens, and I will still get it wrong. I'm sorry for now and for always.
Boris the Bewildered, 5th floor, Pine Fresh.
Pine Fresh. Let's see here. So,
what is a good night?
Yeah. He grinned at Harry and hurried back down the stairs. And Harry, then it doesn't actually say this, but I'm pretty sure he flips him the bird.
I think he did. Yeah, I saw. It's an invisible ink for sure. Right there.
Yeah, right there.
That would be hilarious if they were like invisible messages in the books. Oh my gosh,
that would be so great.
That would be great. I don't know how much work that would be on like a publishing company, but if you just like worked in invisible ink into your story,
yes,
that'd be so fun.
We gotta go get some lemons.
Yeah. We took lemons to every page of Harry Potter.
Guess what we found?
Nothing. Yeah. We have nice smelling books.
Yes, indeed. Yep. So we make it back to the Gryffindor common room where Harry had to yell fairy lights before he woke up the fat lady and her friend Violet, who were snoozing in the picture, which I'm like, everybody's coming back. There's no way in the world they're sleeping right now. But either way, now Ron and Hermione are just having a blazing row, standing 10 feet apart. They were bellowing at each other, each Scarlet in the face, which honestly, like in the scheme of having like a school dance, this happens to someone every time, everywhere.
Oh gosh.
Somewhere.
Does this happen to you?
No, not to me. Not to
Okay,
me. But I
no.
mean, yeah, it's like there's so much like politics going on.
Yeah,
There's jealousy,
there's
everywhere.
feelings and drama, and
Nobody knows how to deal with anything yet. Next time there's a ball, ask me before someone else does, and not as a last resort.
Boom.
Yeah, she nailed it right there.
Ron mouths silently like a goldfish out of water. Wah.
Completely missing the point.
Yeah. Look, he's doing it again. Well, he sputtered. Well.
Yeah, there we go. He's not even using Urs at all.
No, well, he has it the whole time. He keeps doing the repeating thing.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Harry didn't say anything. He liked being back on speaking terms with Ron too much to speak his mind right now, but he somehow thought that Hermione had gotten the point much better than Ron had.
Yeah.
And that,
no doubt.
at over 2 hours, brings us to the end of this week's short episode of chapter 23.
It does. And we have a review.
I was going to say, do you have a review for us?
I sure do, Ben. This is from Cortonius.
Cortonius
Says, love the podcast. I binge it all the time, but I always wondered, what if the Dementor sucked out Harry's soul but left the piece of Voldemort's?
Oh man. That's a good question.
I feel like you have a real, like, it'd be the same as if Tom Riddle had successfully gotten Ginny, like killed Ginny.
Yeah.
I think, right?
I think that you're right. I think that what you would have is a piece of Horcrux that was capable of animating someone else.
Yes.
Effectively. Because, like, I mean, it's pretty much what we have going on with like Voldemort Prime, which is what we always refer to as like the central piece of his soul that enacts all of his behaviors and everything. Like occupying Quirrell, for example. Like if somehow like Quirrell's soul had been sucked out, then all of a sudden Voldemort would just be singly inside of
his body.
And I don't see any reason why that wouldn't turn him into just Voldemort.
Just Voldemort. Yeah. Effectively, he's just Voldemort. Now this is an interesting twist, Ben, because like Harry wouldn't really be Harry anymore because his soul would be gone, but his body would still be like Harry Potter, the living person, would still be alive.
Yep.
Right. So he would still be the chosen one. Right. So and then the prophecy is like the one with the power to defeat the Dark Lord approaches. So like normally our thought is like if Tom Riddle comes back, like what does he do? Does he try and like reunite other pieces of soul? Or does he just become Voldemort?
Right.
Or whatever. And I think what we've said before is that we think like that piece of Horcrux is not Voldemort Prime. It is not the Prime Voldemort. So that piece of soul should still to go try and find his actual self.
Right.
To try and restore Voldemort Prime back to his body.
Okay.
But if because this one's Harry, and because Voldemort will have marked him, and because one must die at the hands of the other, then I think that version of Voldemort would be seeking out Voldemort Prime to try and destroy him.
Oh, yeah.
To be the Voldemort Prime.
To be the Voldemort Prime. That's a very interesting point. The other curiosity I was going to say was almost like to the tune of like Lily's sacrifice lives inside of Harry's blood.
Oh.
And so then you kind of like a unique problem or situation, which, I mean, it is what Voldemort Prime ends up doing in the graveyard. It's taking Harry's own blood inside of him. And then you've got Lily's sacrifice living inside of Voldemort. And in this particular situation, you would have Lily's sacrifice living inside of Voldemort. But then what does that do? Does that like...
okay. Yeah, let's see.
Do you see what I'm saying?
It is a tricky situation we have here.
Is there any world where the purity of Lily's sacrifice inside of Harry would, if only hosting the piece of Voldemort's soul, that it would devour it? Like destroy it?
Oh, well, that's an interesting question. I don't know. I don't think so, because it doesn't happen anyway.
It doesn't happen anyway, but it's because like, well, I guess it's a good point, because like Harry, there's no reason why it wouldn't just attack. I guess it just goes to show like how interwoven, how intertwined do the souls end up being.
I think so, yeah.
Like it might be like, instead of thinking of it as like a tumor that could be sliced away, it's like it's more like a soup or something.
Yeah,
it's like
a soul soup,
Yeah, it's like everything is like merged, and now it's like irrevocably placed together until you go about destroying it, magically,
right?
In any other capacity. Because, I mean, you would even wonder, like, Dementors are natural allies of Voldemort. So if Voldemort is occupying Quirrell's body, it's almost like you might, like, wonder, like, why doesn't Voldemort just take Quirrell to a Dementor and off Quirrell?
Right. I think because then the body would, like, die under the pressure of Voldemort's presence inside of him.
That's probably a good point, too.
Because that's why he's drinking the unicorn blood, because that's already happening.
Yeah.
Even with Quirrell's soul intact.
That's okay. Good point. Good point. Okay.
So there's that. I think I'm trying to think, like, if Harry is just like is now like Voldemort with only Voldemort's soul in there, and he's acting to try and kill Voldemort Prime or be Voldemort Prime, he's still going to have to deal with Voldemort Prime. So like how he would still need it's such a problem for him, because he would need, like, Voldemort Prime would still need to get a body back.
Would Voldemort know about all the Horcruxes?
Voldemort would.
So here's what I think would happen is, like, the prophecy probably could still be enacted, because Voldemort could go and start trying to destroy the things that save Voldemort Prime, because Voldemort would believe he was supposed to be the real Harry. And in doing so, it would eliminate all of Prime's safety nets, and then could potentially defeat Prime genuinely.
No, he couldn't, because he would be the anchor.
He would be the anchor, right? Exactly. But the thing would be, like, if he was the last remaining anchor, and then Voldemort dies, then Voldemort's own death would end up being the thing that would destroy Voldemort.
That's true.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's calling for circumstances unforeseen. Like, we would have to create new canon for any of that to make sense.
Yeah.
But the idea would basically be, like, if this Voldemort character is set out on destroying Voldemort Prime, which the prophecy would almost dictate he would.
Yeah.
Then what it would come down to, if it only came down to Voldemort Prime versus Voldemort, then I guess one way or another, neither can live while the other survive. So I guess either one could live, but either one would also ensure the destruction of the other.
Right. Yeah, like Voldemort could defeat him and then just be himself and mortal.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So if he defeats Voldemort, he is defeating his last tie to immortality.
Yeah, but actually Voldemort wouldn't really be able to do. Well, if he came back using his blood, he would not be. Then he would be at least able to. Then he'd be able to attack him. If he came back by other means using anyone else's blood, then Voldemort Prime could not kill Voldemort, because Lily's protection would still be in place.
Oh yeah,
right. So then Voldemort, he would appear in his mind, I'm sure, in his own arrogance, to defeat Voldemort Prime and be the Voldemort. But then without Voldemort Prime, no, this wasn't. He can't kill Voldemort Prime.
Well, he could
because he's the anchor, so he has to be killed. Right?
Okay, so he has to be killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think then Voldemort Prime defeats Voldemort is really what it comes down to, because the prophecy doesn't not say that could happen.
Right.
Like,
Voldemort could win.
Voldemort could win, but then he's mortal.
Yeah. Okay.
Which would then also tee someone else up for success.
Right. Yeah, to defeat Voldemort.
Right.
Yeah. At that point, the prophecy has been fulfilled, and then new things can happen.
Yeah. Then Voldemort is just defenseless, basically.
Yes.
Shy of his extraordinary power. But,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
there we go. That was an interesting one.
That was an interesting one. Great question that led us down like a whole path of how does it all work?
Soul math, am I right?
Yeah.
It's a weird one.
It's a weird one.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that brings us to the end of today's episode.
That is going to do it at a nice 2 hours and 11 minutes by my look down at the clock. But otherwise, join us next week for Chapter 24, Rita Skeeter's Scoop, here on Through the Griffin Door.
Today's episode was edited by Ethan Edghill. Vaishon Brandon does our art. Catherine Stein is our production manager, and the show is hosted by me and Jonathan Carlin.